Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the third season of the ACC Octane Online Racing Duo Cup, round one here at Watkins, Glen. My name is Lexi Bowen, and joining me tonight is Brad Gosling. How are you, Brad?
Fantastic, Lexi. Must say, this is, as you said, season 3. And in the chat, this is probably one of the most anticipated racing series of a lot of the drivers. They absolutely love this one. This is definitely becoming a staple series for online Octane Racing. And mate, I am absolutely stoked and so looking forward to this one tonight, mate.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. We do have our qualifying section on the way. There you go. The Simrigs Duro series is underway for season 3. We've got the ProAm cars out there at the moment as we jump on board here with S03R01 Red Racing, the 216 Mustang. That is a beautiful livery on the car currently driven by Damien Lloyd.
Yeah, it's a great little team, these guys. There's been plenty of times that I've seen the back end of that car, the front end of that car. The S03R01 guys are super consistent. They're such a great team, and very rarely do you ever see any issues or anything from those guys. So I'm without wanting to do the old commentator's curse before we even start, I'm expecting really good things from those guys, for consistency wise especially. They just make their way through everything, so which is awesome. But here we are aboard Spenceley at the moment. That's another really interesting, great kind of almost semi-camo style livery there as well, and pulling down a 145, so he's definitely putting in some pace there as well behind Winton though. Lexi, anything special about this track that you like?
It's been a hot minute since I've driven Watkins, Glen, but I do very much love the section around the inner loop. It is very tricky to get right, but when you nail it, oh, is it satisfying. You can see as they're coming through now here with Porsche guys for A New Hope. Joe Spenceley in the 914 just getting nicely up onto the curb. If going through there in the race, if you try and go side by side, you are bound for some death.
Isn't it? And I think the memory card has exploded with the amount of video clips from guys trying to go 2 or 3 wide there through that bus stop. Far out, does not happen. And I'm kind of hoping that we don't see that again tonight. Definitely not going to put that one out there. So yes, it's definitely one of the trickier parts of the circuit when you're racing against guys. Not too bad, obviously, when you're on your own. You can really pick your line and go your hardest. But definitely a different kettle of fish when there's guys left, right, and centre all around you.
Absolutely, as we continue watching on with Spenceley, yeah, as you mentioned, with the 45.822 sitting P4 out of the class, gets a little bit loose coming through turn 11. That will compromise the exit, but it will come up to the line now in Porsche guys number 4, and it improves just up behind Winton. I reckon if he'd have kept that together, he would have just eclipsed the 45.3 that Winton set, but you would expect Winton. No, Winton's on an outlap at the moment, so it'll be a little while before he comes back across as the 216 crosses the line into P5, 6/10 off. So there's still only, I think there's only one team left from the ProAm class to get to settle out time, and that is this car here, the Red Rebel Racing number 11 of Daniel Webb. So we'll be keeping an eye on this Ferrari to see what they can do on this run, as Chris Wren goes up to the top in the 538 with a 45.267.
It's certainly getting up and boogieing there with those kind of times. Great times setting early from the ProAm guys. Obviously, we're expecting huge things from the pros, as we always do. So yeah, first kind of real hot lap here for Webb. So we'll see hard to try and keep a track on it. Going for the incognito blue with the definitely know your tyres are spinning yellow. So interesting little setup there, but nice and clean out of the last couple of corners there. So let's see what this one's going to bring up, Lexi.
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination I like, but for a team called Red Rebel Racing, you would have expected just a little bit more red, but I won't hold them to account too much on that, because it could end up being that their red rebelness comes in the speed of their driving, and we'll see what Daniel Webb can do as he comes around the final corner. Spenceley with a 44.7, that's huge from the 914 Porsche guys entry, as Webb up to the line now, and it is right behind. Wow, that is brilliant from Webb with the 44.747, but not brilliant enough to get ahead of the Porsche guys 914. Here's the Porsche guys 913. And it will come to the line now with Miller in a 45.147. Hopefully tonight I can avoid cursing this man.
Let's hope so, mate. We've had enough cursing for a little while, but who's going to say not? So he's still showing a little bit of consistency. I've had a
that is not the line, and that's wall, and that will pretty much do it for that Red Rebel Racing car, because I'm pretty sure they don't have a lot of time left to set anything
else. I was going to say we've got the only guy that we probably haven't seen tonight so far is Rob Brickley here. He's part of the Cam crew. I'll definitely have a shout out to him. That's my boys there tonight. So we've got him and Rusty. So we've got someone from the backside of Victoria and someone from New Zealand racing tonight. And so good being able to have the ability to have guys, and as we're looking here, and he's 0.3 up at the moment, so he's certainly putting on a little bit of a show now. Hopefully the legs of the GTR will definitely be able to help him along here as he powers out of some of the corners, as he's gaining bits every corner here. He's up again a couple of hundreds, or he's kind of lost it a little bit, but really putting on a good show there too, as he's got two corners. I suppose you could call them two corners. It's kind of a sweep one through to the other. Didn't quite get the drive out of that third last one there, as he's coming around and he's still in the green. Is it enough to make a difference? I certainly think he will. He got a good exit out of there. Definitely take him up one. So we go just a one spot there now for Rob. So that certainly will help a little bit there through as well.
Yes, indeed. As we now jump on with Winton, who's finding a great amount of time here. This could potentially a challenge for the top spot against Spenceley, but he'd still need to find another 1/10 of a second in this final sector. Coming through the heel now at turn 8, and he's pretty much there. He's just got to keep the time together, keep the car pointed in the right direction. It's a little loose on the exit of 8, now through 9. Very deceptive, tricky corner to get right, but he's doing very well so far, is Winton. He's going to come through turn 10 now. Long sleeping left-hander, gets it pretty much nailed. Now the right-hander, the final corner. It's losing a little bit of time, but I reckon it will just be enough as he crosses the line. Winton goes to the top with a 44.637.
That was a great lap, that one. That was a fantastic one. But here we've got Miller. He's up 0.2 as well. He's certainly found a little bit of pace in his dying laps, as he's the other guys in silver class look like they'll be starting to get ready to come out as well. And he's still got a little bit of pace in up his sleeve through turn 10, up through 11. Can he hold it, pin it? That's such a balls to the wall corner, that one there. You got to accelerate well. 0.3, he's up another spot there, up to position 4 at the moment for Pro-Ams, and he's happy with that one there as well.
Yeah, it's the end of the Pro-Am section, as we're seeing the silver class drivers now coming out of the pits, as we see Brickley move ahead of Ren, and Ren move all the way up in the P2 ahead of Spenceley, but just behind Winton. So that means Winton in the 72 entry, the BWWB entry of Bowden and Winton will start from the top of the Pro-Am class, but we've got the silvers now coming through, and we'll see what their times can do. Theoretically, they should be faster. That doesn't always translate.
Yeah, it's amazing how much that, because there's a few spots that can kind of catch you out as far as track limits, especially turn one through there when you really want to try and make a good flow, and which you absolutely need through 2, 3, and 4. You mess up corner one, turn one, and it just bleeds seconds. But you've got to take it as far as you can. And that really does take it right to that track limits point. But if you want to get that extra 100th or that extra 1,000th, you've got to do it. Same with the bus stop there. It's the only two spots that really can kind of catch you out. Maybe through turn 8, but it's right to the wire. There's so many little corners here that can really mess things up, and there is a lot of flow as well that can impact how well you do or don't come out of a corner. So, but a lot of Pro-Am guys are really showing some good pace tonight too, Lexi.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great to see the Pro-Am drivers get into the 44s, and so many of them too, quite close between them. These silver class drivers will take a few laps to get used to things. I feel like, as you mentioned with the flow, once you get into a rhythm, into a groove, then you can really start to maximize the amount of time you're finding. As we'll take a look at Niporus coming through now into turn 10 and turn 11 in the number 23 Pixel Racers Nismo Skyline, or GTR really. It's got the Skyline livery. He comes up 44.5, so straight to the top for Matt Niporus ahead of the ProAm of Winton.
Yeah, these the GTR, as I was looking through chat there a bit, it's done a full circle. Hey, it went through this kind of stage where it just didn't really, wasn't really on point, but now it's just, I don't know what it is, whether there's something that they've actually done, whether the bop's changed a little bit, but it's become really competitive again, which is great to see. It's it's been around for quite a while, so a lot of love for the GTR. The guys that are out there that drive it absolutely swear by it. But here we've got Johnson, and he's looking like he's on his out lap, and see how well he warms up.
Yes, indeed, the 191 Benetton livery Kovacs entry there, looking beautiful as ever. God, I just absolutely adore the Benetton colours, and it works pretty perfectly for the team that Johnson is driving for. He'll come through now, turn 10 and into turn 11. Not sure where this is an outlap or an actual lap at this stage, because that delta isn't really giving us too much to go off of, but he'll come up to the line now, and we'll see it is straight to the top, 44.452.
That's a great effort.
Wow. Niporus now up at 44.195, so immediately eclipsing it, and maybe another Datsun to go on top as Marshall comes through the final corner. It's going to be tight here, but I reckon he might just have enough, and he does at 44.180, 15 thousandths of a second ahead of Niporus.
Yep, these silver guys are definitely showing why they are that step up from the Pro-Am guys. But at Naki's out, he's probably on his hot lap there now as well. As we're back with Gray, these guys have done really well as well. It's great to see these guys kind of push up into the silver class. Again, the ANZ CRL guys are so consistent, so it's definitely no surprise that they are making their way up through the levels, as well as Gray's. He's up a little bit on his own there, but he may or may not quite get into the 44s. Still early days, but we'll see how that one goes for him, as Niporus still Oh yeah, far out. How did he hold that in line? He looks like he's going to burn this one up, back up to P1 if he can hold it out. Great exit, pretty good through that one there, through 10 and 11. Hopefully he doesn't slide too much, although the GTR loves a bit of the getting a little bit tail happy, and he's just absolutely plummeted that.
This looks good. This looks good. Is it a 43 yet? Oh, not
Oh,
44 flat. Pretty much only 5 thousandths off of the 44 dead even. That is very, very good lap time from Matt Nippers, but we'll see what Marshall can do. He's about to cross the line now. Can't go faster than what Nippers has, but will stay on board with Gray, who is about 3 tenths off. This would move him ahead of a few of the Pro-Am drivers, and this would be a great result for ANZ CRL. As he comes up to the line, it is a 44.8, so that moves him up to P7 ahead of Miller in the 913 Porsche guys entry.
yeah, that's a great little effort there. So I'm sure we'll see a little bit more from him as well. As we got Oliver, who's also a little bit below, so he's probably still trying to find his feet with this one here, leaving it a little bit late. But at the same time, he might have, again, this is probably one of those things where he's probably had a couple of solid flying laps, but it turn 1, turn 8. All it takes is just that little bit of track limits, and then you've got to wait another minute 45 until you can get your next lap around. As we can definitely see, he's well and truly into the green with his delta there, 0.4, 0.5.
Oh, yeah.
What a great exit! Great
Found
exit
a
out
lot
that
more
one there.
time. A lot more time through the toe at turn 7 than he did on his previous lap. Now, coming up to the heel of the boot, can he keep it nice and tight to the apex? He can, but he runs a little bit wide on the exit. Hasn't lost him any time though, so through 9 he goes, and he's about 8 tenths of a second up, so this is going to be a fairly substantial improvement from Oliver, which should move him into the top 10 theoretically, but he'll come through now, turn 10, as Lucas Marshall, he's tied. Lucas Marshall has tied the lap time of Matt Nippers, so 2 Datsuns on a 44 flat 5. That is incredible, as Oliver does move up into the top 10 in 9 tenths off the pace. Yeah, look at that. It is exactly even. So Nippers is still on top, but Marshall has gotten an identical lap time. If you ask Jamie Conboy, that never happened.
Never. We should probably almost take a screenshot photo of that one, Glenn. You might need to do that so we can put it on the up on the pool room wall of gun. 0.000.
Vintner just lost the rear end going through turn 10 there. Looked like he was going to get pretty close. He might still. He's going to do it. He found a huge amount of time through turn 11.
Oh, wow.
Out of nowhere, it's a 43.860 for Vintner to go on to provisional pole.
Wow, into the 43s is such a great job, as Johnson's found another almost quarter of a second here, as well as he did a great job getting out of the exit. Still not enough to change his position at the moment, but definitely getting closer to the 2 Datsuns in front of him, as you were saying as well. So here we go. Is Marshall going to be able to make up that 5 thousandths of a second?
No.
He's probably cooked at that little bit. Oh dear.
So there you go. It is set in stone. That is a tied lap time, as Oliver has exceeded, and that's it from him. Here is Gray coming through the final corner now. A little bit up. This might move him ahead of Ren, but it's going to be pretty tight. And no, it does not. No. Only a 5 thousandths of a second improvement for Gray. If only that's what Marshall did before.
Yeah. That's it.
Well, either way, we are now into the fastest of the fast, the quickest of the quick. It is your Pro class teams out there, your duos, as is the namesake of the series. We're on board here with Lucas Keys. The Datsun, very, very popular.
It has been quite popular. This series is definitely getting his tyres warmed up and up to pressure there, running a little bit wide.
A little bit of a tap of the wall as well there out of the final corner.
It did look a bit like that. I don't know whether or not it's just whether it's his ping and he's just because he was looking a little bit glitchy. So I'm not sure whether it's just the frame rates there coming through from Keys as well. But hopefully that's all that it is. It's just how we're seeing it on the stream. But and it wasn't really any damage. Let's hope for his sake.
Yeah. Given how light the contact looked, I wouldn't think there'd be any damage. If there is, it would be very, very minor. But yeah, you can see that he's sort of moving around a little bit, so the connection to the server may not be the greatest, but he's still looking very, very quick. And we know that Lucas Keys is a very, very fast operator. And yeah, this seems like it's a fairly competitive car, especially around here. So we'll see what he can do with it.
Yeah, we if anyone eventually in chat could who might be with him might be able to give us a shout out and see how Lucas is going with his own connection and driving would be awesome. But outside of that, here is a very formidable combo as well. Chris Taylor there and the Honda. He is definitely one that loves that car, let me tell you.
And his co-driver Cook, he is also pretty well akin to the Honda. So yeah, in the smokestack liveried Honda, that is it seems to be a very interesting homage to another famous racing livery that we all know, but probably don't say the name to, is oh my lord, Lucas Keys with a 43167.
Oh.
That is immense.
Yes, well, yeah, that's it. It's not really like we were not expecting him to be P1 or P2 with a smoking lap like that, as he's almost
look at how far ahead of
up from half a second up from Taylor. Which, in saying that, Taylor has still pulled a 43.6, and you just go, wow, 43.6 is fantastic.
No,
half a second off.
Yeah, it's terrible. If it's not a 42 at this point, then you might as well just pack it up, go home.
That's it. As we're on board with Salady there now as well in the trying on the Lambo for size.
I was about to say he's doing pretty well, but he's gone very, very wide at the toe and lost about 0.2 of a second. Looked like it was potentially going to be challenging for that pole position, but for now, he's just going to have to keep things nice and tidy and go again. But he knows he'll have plenty of lap time on the table to be able to challenge for a pole position, and if not, still be able to potentially get into the 42s, because Kafil Slade looks like he's got the pace.
Yeah, he's right teetering on the edge of whether or not he'll take Taylor off at the moment. He just had to come off the gas there a little bit to
I reckon he will.
get that last one tidy. That should... Oh, still made it though. He's pipped Taylor just. So
Keys finds a 7,000th of a second improvement. It's small improvements, but it could prove pivotal.
Pivotal to whether or not he stays at half a second in front of everybody else or not. That's the
precisely.
That's where it's going to come back to. As we're aboard, Steve Ty here in the Audi R8 as well. He's on a clean lap, finally making some time up there, half a second at the moment up. So he's well and truly got that car in the zone at the moment. Hopefully he keeps that one clean. His time's still in the white, so not red, so he didn't invalidate there, going a little bit too wide, so he's done all right. So half a second up, this will certainly help his process.
Absolutely, yeah. Good to see the Rockets Evolved team out there qualifying. Usually when I see a Rockets Evolved car, they're starting at the back of the grid, but not today, as Stephen Ty is putting in a pretty solid lap time so far. Does lose a little bit out of the heel with a bit of a loose moment, but so far still not looking too bad. We'll be looking to be about 0.3 of a second off of where Lucas Keys was, but he'll come through now into turn 10. Left-hander gets on the apex nicely, pretty clean. Now final corner, turn 11, right-hander, get out as far as you can to that wall and doing pretty well. It's going to be, yeah, about 4.5 tenths improvement to move him up into P2. Just had a Slade momentarily before. Kafil Slade just gets heads. Kafil Slade was following along, so may have gotten a little bit of help there as, there you go, there's a 42 from Lucas Keys. So he's maintained that half a second buffer.
Yep. Just to let everyone know, yeah, you can do a 42 around Watkins, apparently.
Yeah, definitely. As Benefield moves up into P4 now, 43.6, not too bad. Unfortunately for him, it's still 6.5 tenths off.
Oh, that is just out of control. Lucas Keys, out of control. Benefield doing great at the moment. Nice little 43.6, as you said. Keeping pretty consistent at that pace at the moment. I think that's where most of the guys will probably end up sitting at as well. But just looking down at the at that timing tree at the moment, where Vintner is still in P7, which is great for the silver guys there. So whether or not Shady Samuel's got a little bit more in his and that's what happens when you hit
too much curb. Too
much there from Timmy Purcell. So not quite sure where Shady's at there. Samuel's up a little bit more too, so this could pop him Taylor into P2 if he keeps this up, because he's only kind of 0.1 behind Slady there. So as long as he keeps it above that, this is going to push Slady back to the second row of the grid. So keeping it clean. What's he got? Not quite.
It's going to be pretty tight, although that's a decent amount of time gain and then immediately lost through turn 9. So let's see, can he hold it? It's, yeah, teetering on the edge right now, whether it's P3 or P2, but through turn 11, it's pretty well sewn up. It's going to be a move up into P2 for the 695 there with Taylor in the smokestack entry, and he pulls off to the side as he will now return the pits and replace those tyres as Kafil Slade has done, and he's now on his first hot lap on this fresh set of boots.
Yeah, with the 5 minutes to go, little splash and dash, new set of rubber, and really see him set it down. Let's see whether they can get anywhere closer to Lucas Keys. They're still all half a second off. My gosh.
So, keeping an eye on what Slade can do. The Delta is showing that there is some level of improvement here, so we're going to treat this as if this is actually a hot lap, and he seems to be pushing like it's a hot lap. So we'll continue on with it. He's about a tenth up. This would improve him ahead of Taylor if this is indeed valid. It's hard to really say with the way the ACC manages things these days. So he'll come through now into the heel, gets out nice and wide. He's, yeah, again, as Taylor was before, right on the edge of whether he'll take P2 or remain in P3. But we'll see as he comes through the final few corners now. Turn 10, how wide does he go? He keeps it within the bounds of the track nicely, and then gets right across so he can open up the entry for turn 11. He gets a beautiful exit, and this should,
exit,
hopefully for him, for his sake, move him up into P2, and it does.
Oh, there we go.
And he's had enough.
Happy with that, he says.
In fact, I think that, yeah, that's pretty much it here. So last driver out there is Damiano Turcolini in the 911 Porsche guys entry. Very colourful Porsche guys entry, I might add. So he'll be coming through now into turn 9. Pretty close as to whether he'll surpass Callum Gibbons or not, but still needs to find about another tenth if he wants to move up any more positions. So coming through turn 11 now, crucial he gets this exit right, and he does, and he might find his way up into P12, but it would have to be a good, really good exit, and it's not quite. Oh, it's the same lap time as Nathan Monks. That never happens.
And then it's happened twice. This is out of control. Glenn, what are you doing to us, mate? Wow.
It's all Glen's fault. Yep. It's all Glen's fault because it's Watkins Glen. Yeah, of course. So
they've go for it, Lexi.
Yeah, there we go. So that will do it for our qualifying session here. We'll have a few minutes where the teams can choose where they change drivers or not. But in terms of the order, we have Lucas Keys in the 139 pain and misery entry with a 42.950. That's a massive lap time, and his co-driver there is Jamie Conboy. So speak of the devil, he's just witnessed two duos get the same lap time as each other in two separate instances. So wonderful to see. Second place, it is Kafil Slade in the number 28. 8 laps down by K.A. Lamborghini. He is driving with Babby there, so interested to see how they go tonight. Then in P3, it is the 695 Smokestack Racing Honda with Chris Taylor at the wheel in qualifying. He is co-driving, as mentioned earlier, with Brad Cook. So two drivers that are very well accustomed to the Honda, and they'll be looking to get a good result, a good start here. We've got a long race ahead of us, but should be very exciting, as all Enduro Series races are.
Yeah, and as we were saying before we went live, one of the big things that I really enjoy about the Duo Series is the ability, the fact that a lot of the guys can't really have just one stop. So it's not just the two stints, we're plenty of talk about the Porsches being able to do 90-minute stints, and, the Mercs, depending on the track, the Merc, you can push out to that kind of 90-minute stint where you go, okay, yeah, that's car. Okay, there's two of the cars that can do that. But the rest of it, you got to make 2 stops. So then you go, okay, well, that's all right. Well, let's just, you split it into 3. And then you go, oh, we can't do that because all of a sudden you've got a minimum, maximum, 60-40% driver time. And so then all of a sudden you go, well, you can't just split it down the middle, but you got to be either short or you got to be long. And it's just like the dynamics of all of that really comes into it, just make this such a fascinating race. Lexi, you got any other insights for kind of the little quirky bits for the duos, mate?
Not really. I'm just keen to get this race underway because it's going to be very, very interesting indeed. So there we go. Their 3 minutes has elapsed. They'll have a few more minutes to get their strategies prepared. We don't really know what these teams are going to do, but they also have to account for any incidents that occur on lap 1 or even later in the race. That go bowling is not for the drivers to crash into each other, but it is possible to see around here.
Yes, and as they start to get the final little bits and pieces sorted for the cars, making sure that they've definitely taken the fuel loads changed would be one thing. I may or may not have done that in the past myself. I may or may not have heard of plenty of other people going, why did you call into pits on lap 3? That would, so I'm sure these guys won't be doing that though, but this is definitely the time to make sure that your spotter is checking all of those things as well. You're ticking off a few little things in your mental list of the setups within the cars, making sure your changes and all that are going to be good as well. So as the guys start to settle in for 3 hours of nothing but action-packed nose-to-tail racing.
Yeah, exactly. And because it's such a long race, I mean, we saw that it was pretty close amongst qualifying for most of these drivers, but you will still get lapping occur, and that can lead to a lot of drama when it comes to gaps opening and closing, and sometimes, unfortunately, it can also lead to a few little incidents occurring where blue flag cars get involved in incidents with faster drivers, or faster drivers just being a little bit impatient. But regardless, we will have a look down the grid at all beautiful cars that we have on display, all 26 of them, and my lord, it's very colorful in it.
It's great. I say it all the time. Like, it's so good seeing all the different liveries, and the ability, the fact that we've got the ability to be able to do that as well to all of these cars. Then, you know, huge shout out to the amount of livery makers that are out there, and the jobs that they do to make every single card look absolutely fantastic. It's a great show the whole way up and down the field. Really is.
Indeed. So we're about to get this one underway. The drivers will be hitting drive, making sure that they have indeed set their pit strategies correctly, selected the correct tyre strategy to ensure that they are on the fuel that they need to get this race underway. So 10 seconds away from the formation lap, then we'll have 3 hours of non-stop action, with the drivers really left to their own devices when it comes to the pit stops and the pit windows, but still they have to consider the 60-40 stint length. So yeah, either way, we are underway with our formation lap. Brad, did you have any predictions going into this one?
Oh, well, I think we'd be... I think the biggest prediction, I would say, is how many times Lucas Keys can lap the entire field.
Oh, dear. Well, you've got to remember, it's not just Lucas Keys driving in that car.
And in saying that, I must also say, shout out to JC in the GTR as well. He is going to be far from slow himself. He's definitely no slouch in that GTR. I'm surprised. It's great to see him out, getting out and about, a lot of times in the pixel racing colours, but it's great to see him being able to kind of share his love around with a lot of other guys, a lot of other drivers and racers, which is fantastic to see as well. Obviously, there you go. They've finally made it past the first delta, and who is now in the car? None other than JC himself.
Yep, so, JC piloting the pain and misery to start off this race with Babby and Taylor behind him. So yeah, we'll have a look at our top 10. So it's Convoy from Babby, Taylor, Ty, Benefield, Holmes, Vintner, Shady Samuel, Matt Nippers, and Marshall there, the top 10. Looking at our silver class, so Vintner leading the way in the silver class from Nippers, Marshall, and Johnson there. And then in the ProAm class, it is Winton who will lead the ProAm field away from Wren, Spenceley, and Miller. So got to keep an eye on when the drivers change, but also can't be reliant on the last names changing, as a few of these teams do have drivers with the same last names. Where they are all related or not, who knows?
Related by the fact that they're now going, hey, you got the same last name as me, that's pretty cool, let's race in the car together. It's probably been done before as well, but yes, I think there was 2 or 3 of them in the field tonight. 2 of the Samuels, we've got 2 of the Millers, both racing together. So yes, you won't actually know who's who. So as they
Webbs as well.
Yes, sorry, yep, and Webbs, yes. So take it away as we come across the line, as they are now well and truly into formation.
Not a problem. So, 3 hours out of us here at Watkins Glen for the Sim Rigs Duo Cup. Race start has been initialized and we are underway, and it's a great start there for Benefield in the 912. He's going to go to the inside. It's going to be 4 wide into turn 1 nearly. It's not going to end well, but looks like Taylor's had a pretty poor start, has had to back out of it. Benefield up into P3. Great start from him. But crucially, Babby has gotten ahead of Comboy, but now Comboy using the straight line speed advantage of that Nissan with the turbo down this back straight, and Benefield's getting involved in this as well. The Porsche not a slouch at the moment. It's going to be very, very tight here. Don't go 3 wide. Please do not go 3 wide, but it looks like they're all going to back out nicely and leave Babby in the lead. So great start from the Lamborghini, gets the drive off the line, and it means that he is now in the lead with Jamie Comboy sitting in second. So the 28 Lamborghini is away nicely from Comboy, Benefield, Ty, Vintner with a great start up to P5, then Taylor, Samuel, Holmes, Nippers. Looks like the 2 Datsuns of Nippers and Marshall were going side by side momentarily there, but they've managed to hold off for the moment, and now Johnson is on the back of Lucas Marshall. So plenty to look at the moment, but so far very clean launch, as we see now the Aston Martin of Holmes looking to the outside of Shady Samuel into the heel. He brakes very, very late. Shady Samuel's gonna try and usher him outside of the track, and he does, but Holmes stays in it as he comes up into turn 9. This is contact. It's very loose there, and looks like Shady Samuel's managed to keep it straight, but has lost a few positions and could still lose more as Marshall goes through on the inside of turn 10, and Shady Samuel's still under a lot of pressure now from behind with now Johnson on his rear. So a little bit of contact there. I wonder if the stewards will have a look at that, but at the end of the first lap, it's actually Daniel Benefield that sets the fastest lap of the race. Goes to show how good of a start he had if he's setting the fastest lap of the race.
Absolutely, yeah. It's normally P1 that sets the fastest lap on lap 1, but it must have been it was a great start from him right up into P3 as well, which is awesome. Unfortunately, Taylor's been pushed down a couple of spots there as well. But looking on the little track map, I haven't seen any yellow dots. So it's one big giant snake. So that's huge hats off to everyone, knowing that this is not a sprint race. This is you'd call it somewhat of a mini enduro for sure, because everyone's got their heads on at the moment, going, okay, I'm not going to win this in the first lap. So let's keep the cars clean and tidy and straight, and start attacking a little bit later on.
And yeah, there were moments where they could have gone multiple cars wide through a few of these corners, somewhere you wouldn't have expected it, but they were all very sensible. They backed out of the moves where they realized they were not going to get through in one piece, and as a result, we've seen by far the cleanest start I've seen in an ACC race for a very long time, and it's the first round of a series. Like, that's pretty impressive, because a lot of these drivers won't be used to racing each other on a weekly basis. Like, yes, there'll be some that they'll be familiar with from their sprint series splits, but when you're putting them all together, it can sometimes create a lot of chaos. So they've done a very, very, very good job, as now Jamie Comboy sits the fastest lap and he is chasing after Babby. Would like to note that, yes, Keys did have some net issues or something, so that is why Jamie Comboy is starting this race, allowing Lucas Keys to understand what's going on with the network issues that he was having. But coming up now onto the back straight, Glory Babby still leading the way in the Iron Lynx 28. Oh, it's the 28, but it's just got the Iron Lynx livery, so not going to complain too much, but yeah, Jamie Comboy is looking very, very quick. Daniel Benefield still sitting in P3, but Stephen Ty is looking quite rapid behind in the Rockets Evolved entry.
Yeah, that's a few little great battles looking right up and down the field. Obviously, plenty going on at the moment. You've got to be looking left, right and centre. That everybody's going to have someone in their mirrors the whole way down the field at the moment. So we are starting to see a couple of little gaps kind of pull out. Top 3, top 4 kind of pulling out there a little bit against Taylor. And then it's kind of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. kind of in their own little battle pack at the moment, and then a bit more of a gap back from 10 right through to 16. They're all nose to tail there as well. So most of them keeping pretty tight, but they're just starting to see just a few little air gaps coming here and there. So at the moment, and that's probably a lot to do with the pressure, as we're kind of looking in the background there, as Shady Samuel is doing everything that he can to try and get past Marshall. After the few little taps that he had in losing a couple of spots early on. Oh, there's a couple of quick little, I've done the fastest lap. No, I've done the fastest lap, as Dan Benefield pulls out an all but 45 flat. He is well and truly over the back of JC there as well, which is just giving Baggy
interesting.
a little bit of a gap there, breather.
This is going to be really interesting. It's going to be Stephen Ty looking to get side by side with Daniel Benefield, the Porsche. Not the greatest in the straight line, trying to get the slipstream off of the Nissan. In the background, I think we saw Taylor and Vintner going side by side, and into the corner. Vintner's managed to get through. Vintner around the outside of the bus stop. Very well done there. So he moves up to P5 ahead of Taylor. And I think that's where we're going to see a lot of moves, but they have to be very, very clean and cautious when they do so.
Yes, I'm not being part of it, but I'm pretty sure there would have been some form of a conversation there with the stewards to all the drivers going, okay, when it, obviously you're racers, but there is a point of which someone has to yield, because you just can't go through that part there too wide. That's just out of control. That's just crazy talk.
It's asking for death, basically.
Yes, 100% death. Dead. Everyone dead when you're trying to go too wide through the bus stop. Everyone.
Yeah.
So great part is no one's dead.
That's it. Oh, so far there is a driver who has dropped towards the back of the field. That's the 72 of the BWWB Racing entry, but we'll keep focused on this battle as there's plenty going on here. It looks like in the background Shady Samuel's having a look, Lucas Marshall, but Marshall's doing a very good job so far to hold on to that P9 position ahead of a driver that we know is very, very fast in the 223 of Samuel, as Bowles says you can 100% go too wide. It just usually doesn't end very well, as that got very, very close between Taylor. It looks like Taylor had to back out of the throttle a little bit, and that's going to leave him vulnerable now to Josh Holmes. He's going to try and go around the outside, but he backs out of it. That's smart from Holmes, because he was just going to get boxed in there.
Yes, it is. Even if you get it's not quite, unless you're in the GTR, it's almost not quite enough of a straight long enough to be able to get a good toe, unless you can start far enough back through that 2, 3, 4 little sequence where you can have a really good run coming down that straight. Very hard to be able to make a move there without the other driver being courteous enough to go, I don't want to die, and I'm sure you don't want to die either.
Yep, absolutely no. I've definitely seen it done where you get just an absolute slip, where you get a very, very clean slipstream going through 2, 3, 4 onto the back straight, but you pretty much have to have a slingshot to do it.
Yeah.
So we'll keep focused anyways. Here is Convoy. He's dropped the position. He's gone behind Benefield. So Benefield's managed to get through somewhere. And it's up in the P2. So Benefield with great paces. Ben Vintner in Silver Class number 5 entry sets a 45 flat for the fastest lap of the race. So these drivers are really, really tight on the lap times right now. But either way, it's going to be interesting to see what Benefield can do now against Babby. He's got 1.3 seconds to close. Raced against Benefield before, and he is very, very fast operator, so it does not surprise me to see him right up there and doing very, very well in the 912 Porsche guys entry. Is getting confirmation from Doug Ryan in chat. The car 72 crashed in turn 3, 4 in lap 4 on his own, so that's unfortunate. He's just coming out of the pits now after repairing the damage.
Yes, bit of unfortunate user error there, but happens to the best. as well. So part of racing, the fortunate part is you can repair the cars and get back out there. So fortunately, he probably need to wait for the timing charts to come past. But I'm only going to be guessing that he is still on the lead lap. So
here is a replay. I know I'm just waiting on the replays to see when Benefield did get through on Convoy, but either way, Convoy is dropping off the back of the Porsche, so wonder if they're just running a little bit of a heavier fuel load at the moment compared to some of the other teams.
Yeah, quite possibly, because the does have quite a big fuel tank in the GTR, so which normally helps with the giant guzzle that it is when it runs. Oh, there we go, into the 44s.
Yeah, new drivers there of the 44.9. We saw Vintner, then Holmes, then Shady Samuel. So they're all going very, very quick. That whole top 10 put a cigarette paper between them in terms of their lap times.
That's it. Absolutely. But Samuel still behind Marshall. Marshall doing a great job holding him off there, considering he's has the fastest lap as well. So, you know, no harm there from Marshall. He's doing the best that he can to keep him at bay. Keeping the fastest guy on track at the moment at bay is no mean feat, that's for sure.
That's it. Looks like Nipris has managed to get through on Taylor, so the 695 Honda isn't really having a great start to this race, but there's still 2 hours and 48 minutes to go. But so far, the silver class driver is really showing up. We've seen Vintner with the fastest lap of the race coming up to P5. Nipris making a few great moves. Marshall holding off a very, very fast Shady Samuel, and Johnson following along with. So got some very, very strong silver class drivers and silver class duos in this duo cup race.
Yeah. The guys that are the silver class drivers that are in these are definitely at the pointy end of the silver class in all of their respective sprint series as well. And here we've got the
that would be the 72.
72. Yep.
That's unfortunate. Yeah.
Yep. So hard when you're that close to the guys in front, just trying to find the right turn-in point, and when you go on those kind of speeds.
We have 2 identical fastest laps. It's happened again.
Oh, this is out of control.
So
how are you doing this?
Both Glory Babby and Shady Samuel have set 44 932s.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. Hold on, Shady Samuel's just lost the position to Johnson.
Johnson.
The silver class drivers are doing an absolute job right now.
Oh, hats off to them. Hats off to them. Definitely putting it to the pro drivers. That's for sure. Wonder if Samuel might have had a bit of an issue himself, or whether it was just a great job there from Johnson.
Yep, so the United Colours of Kovacs doing very nicely at the minute, as also getting a confirmation from Doug Ryan that the 121 did the exact same thing as the 72 did on lap 7. So very unfortunate. The 121 is in the pits now. That is the Atoll Racing car of Oliver and Atkins. Very tough pill to swallow for them indeed, but continuing onwards, it's still Babby out front. He's managed to stabilise the gap between himself and Benefield behind. They cross the line, and well, there you go. Benefield has decided he's had enough of the equivalent fastest laps, and he's gone and set a 44.830 to go to the fastest lap on his own terms. So, meanwhile, Stephen Ty's gotten through on Jamie Convoy, so the 139 Nissan really struggling at this phase of the race.
I know these guys are well and truly good enough to be able, to be able to make great setups for quali and also for actual racing setups for the cars themselves. I just wonder whether or not the balance just seems like it might be just not quite there with that full load. I know, as you were saying there too, Lexi, it's, be it that it's just got that little bit of extra fuel if it's, and it only takes like one click of a shock or an anti-roll bar one way or another. And depending on where the fuel load is, it really can make a huge amount of difference when you've got these guys that are just running the 1%ers, like when everything is just so close and so finely tuned. There is very, very little between anything that they can do. As we're looking at Bielefeld, is definitely closing that gap there on Babby as well. He's down to just over a second as well.
Indeed is.
So here we go. Here's the overtake of Johnson, and here's this is exactly what you were saying there too, Lexi. It's like the slingshot, as he's just been able to manage to get around, and that's how you do it. If you want to make a pass into the bus stop, Lexi, that's exactly what you said.
That is pretty much textbook definition of what I was trying to explain before. So thank you, Carl Johnson, for demonstrating that for the class today. As meanwhile, out front, Daniel Benefield has closed within 1 second of Glory Babby, and the race for P1, albeit it's only, 17 minutes into this race, very much on.
Absolutely. These guys are, that's pulling out 2 second gap from them back to Stephen Ty. Whether or not Babby, there we go, he's just out over that 1 second. So whether or not he's just been able to find just a little bit there, Babby, just to try and hold Benefield at bay at that kind of that 1 second mark. It'll time will tell, obviously, but these two are definitely starting to stretch out. Steve Ty's just kind of having a nice little la-di-da there on his own as well. A couple of seconds back, enjoying a bit of a low pressure race.
Yeah, and he's managed to break well clear now of Jamie Conboy. Yeah, by 2 seconds now. So Conboy really struggling. He's got a train of cars. My lord, that's a train of cars behind him. Oof. So Datsun is not looking the strongest in the hands of Jamie Conboy right now. But again, as I've been saying all along, still very early though. You can see. Yeah, I just wonder if it's not as responsive as he wants it to be, because that looks like it's very understeery for Jamie Conboy right now.
Yeah, and he's just about to get eaten up there by Holmesy as well. Holmesy doing a great job coming up from a few positions as well, biting right on the heels of JC at the moment. I think it's just a matter of time now. Oh, that's a little bit wide.
No, that is a very adventurous definition of what the track limits are.
Oh, I was just going to say that if you want to know what the track limits are, that's well and truly not for it.
It's not the textbook definition of what track limits are. This is going to be tight. Okay, thank you for backing out of that. My lord, I was about to explode.
Oh wow! Yeah, that was not looking like fun.
So Josh Holmes just has to be a little bit patient here. He knows how quick that Nissan can be in a straight line, but he's also seen how much of a struggle it's been for Jamie Conboy out of some of these corners to really maximize the track width, and sometimes going a little bit too wide. So it's just got to try and force the error, force the mistake, because the acceleration at Nissan is no joke.
Yes, it's always painful when you're in behind a GTR, that's for sure.
Meanwhile, out front, Benefield's gained 0.5 of a second in this sector alone, but we're going to hold on to this because it's tight, and Jamie Conboy having to defend the inside, and Holmes trying to switch up the inside, but he can't do anything at the moment. I reckon a move is on as we run out of the final corner at turn 11. Look at how much Jamie's struggling here.
Yeah, he's definitely not looking like he's in love with that car just at the moment.
It was side by side into turn 1, Benefield up the inside, and he is through, but now he's going to be under a bucket load of pressure as Babby gets the slingshot out of turn 3 and 4, and he's now going to look to the outside. The Porsche, not great in a straight line. The Lambo, not particularly great in a straight line either. It's going to be pretty much side by side as we go into the chicane here, and Babby did have to back out of it, and he's lost a lot of time as a result. So now Benefield is well and truly away and into P1 in this race.
And that's bringing Steve Ty right up against Babby there as well too. After that little flick around through the bus stop there, so it'll be interesting to see how much he's actually able to capitalise on that too. Hopefully Babby's been able to straighten the car, settle it down a bit, but JC, this is like the head of the old game of snakes. It's
truly trained.
That's it. So he's doing well, being able to hold on to it as much as he is there. But again, as you say, it's patience for Holmesy, because he's got to be aware as well, because he's got Vintner right up on his tushy, so he can't do too much.
Yeah. There was nearly a almighty send there from Holmes. He's starting to lose that patience, and he's just got to keep himself in the right mindset, keep himself steady, because if he goes for anything aggressive and accidentally punts JC, then that's going to be a penalty coming his way. And as much as it's early in the race, it can very much ruin what could happen for the rest of this event for him and the 149 Thunderdome Racing team.
Yes, it's we're only 22 minutes into the race so far. It's definitely not the time that you want to be losing your patience. I get that. I fully get that he's seeing that gap extending for the P1, 2 and 3 in front, and he'll be doing everything that he can to get up to those guys, Benefield, Babby and Ty, so he'll be doing whatever he can. But yes, it's very much a game of patience at the moment, because you do something wrong now and it will definitely come back to bite you.
Well and truly, and I mean, if he can't get through, there is always the pit stops where he can find a little bit of an undercut and get through, or even just a little bit less fuel taken into the car to run past the 139. I think he's also considering that the driver jumping into that car next will most likely be Lucas Keys.
Yeah, I'd say unless there's a bit of a netcode issue with Lucas where JC's going to have to do the double, I would be very surprised if Keys didn't come in at the back end of this. It could be just a case of JC trying to manage the car to that kind of 40% time bracket to let Lucas take over that last 60%, kind of that double and a half, or kind of 1.5 stints. Quite possibly, and leaving the car as straight as possible and as high up the trees he can.
Again, right now he's using the advantages of that Nissan to great effect at the moment. He's keeping the car in a tricky position for Holmes to do anything about it, and on the straight we know how good the Datsun is, so there's really nothing that Holmes can do. He just has to hope and hold out for some kind of mistake from JC, and right now it looks like he's ironing those out and starting to pick up the pace a little bit. He's not dropping nearly as much time to Stephen Ty ahead of him.
Yeah, I was just thinking that as well, Lexium. Like, I think JC's just starting to come to settle into what this GTR is doing and how it's balanced, and he's obviously got to work with the car that he's got. This is the race car that he's got. Okay, now we're 25 minutes in. Okay, settled. Righto, what's his car doing? How do I know where can I push? Where have I got to kind of ease off a little bit? And how do I manage the tyres and manage the fuel as best as I can? And saying that, he's still definitely got a decent trend behind him, but he's looks like he's found a little bit more of a groove there as well, for sure.
Yeah, Holmes isn't putting as many attempts on JC as he was before, so it's encouraging signs from the 139 driver there. And yeah, that gap stayed pretty stable at 4.3 seconds throughout pretty much the whole lap, so nicely done there, although Holmes is looking a lot closer on this occasion, and they're going to go side by side through turn 2 and 3. This is going to be very tight. Looks like JC's just managed to stay ahead, and now it's going to be tricky for Holmes to do anything about it with the acceleration, but he's still in the slipstream. Is he going to have a look to the inside? He's probably going to have to back out of this one, and he does at the last second, and JC is not phased. He gets through there nice and cleanly, as Vintner now is having to defend against fellow Silver Class driver there in Matt Nipris, as Holmes did have a look at the inside of the outer loop, but JC just did enough to hold on. So there's still a lot going on here, but seems like at the moment JC is just doing enough.
And that certainly looks like a lot of effort and a lot of hard work for JC to be able to do enough there as well. He's definitely got his work cut out for him.
Nipris made a bit of an error. He's lost the position to Taylor.
Oh, he has too. Not quite sure where that one happened as well, but I think that's kind of one of the things that we were saying earlier there too. Is it's one thing to be attacking the car in front, but that normally puts you kind of out of the racing line to be able to make that overtake, which then exposes you to the car that's behind you. And for these guys, you're talking 0.2, 0.1 of a second, like that gap between Convoy, Holmes, Vintner. It's you 0.2 of a second, so that's the same view as what Vintner. And looking in the mirror there, Taylor's look like I'm looking at the reverse camera there. He's gone wide. I don't know whether or not they're going too wide. I'm still
side by side still, and
oh wow,
Vintner's managed to just hold on, but we know.
I thought that Taylor had him there. I really did.
He might, because in a straight line that Honda isn't too bad, although looks like he is just having to defend a little bit here from Matt Nipris, and he does so, but has that compromised his line? It has. He's gone very wide. Nipris can't do anything about it.
That from the biggest win to the biggest save there, pretty much.
Absolutely, and now, look at that up the inside of Marshall. Nearly saw Johnson get up the inside. Look at how tight this battling is. This is incredible. Now, with Johnson getting a little loose, here comes Shady Salmon. This is exactly what you were talking about. These drivers can do as much attacking as they want, but they have to keep one eye behind them because they're vulnerable if they mess up just even the tiniest little bit.
Yeah, that's it. And there's obviously a couple of these little battles out. They'll tighten up a little bit again as well. But yeah, and the hardest part too, I reckon, is you attack, and then if you get something not quite right, you got 2, 3, 4, 5 cars behind you, and all of a sudden, if you can't find yourself back on the racing line, you could go from 6th back to 10th in a matter of 2 or 3 corners, and then you got to try and fight your way back through it. It's crazy when you see how close these guys are, and it really is. It's brilliant racecraft and drivercraft when these guys. Whoa, that's a little bit wide there too, also by Johnson and Samuel, I reckon. But yeah, it's so hard for these guys to be racing so close together.
Yes, as Babby having to defend the inside against Stephen Ty. Stephen Ty's been right there with him for many, many laps now, but just can't get past the number 28 unloaded livery entry with Rockets Evolve now looking to the inside into the chute, but has to back out of it. Babby is under a bucket load of pressure. Benefield will be rubbing his hands together. He's got 3.5 seconds of an advantage now in the lead, and the Porsche guys 2 car with Benefield and McDowell will be very, very happy with this, as Babby now aggressively defending the inside. Seems like it's only a matter of time until Stephen Ty gets through. He's going to have a look around the outside. This is going to be tight, but I reckon This is Stephen Ty going to be through once he gets through turn 9. He's got the much better line and he does get through. So Stephen Ty up in the P2.
Yeah, that was well executed, that one. For all those up and coming racers that are watching on YouTube and seeing all this happen, if you want to know how to make a good overtake, that is how you do it. Setting it up, half a lap, 1 lap, 2 laps out, seeing these guys coming as we've got the first of the blue flags. So this is...
this is going to be awkward.
He's done well to try and stay to the inside of that, but that's tough.
Look.
And really feel for those the guys too.
Yeah, look, and now here comes Nipris. He's going to get through on...
He's going to get this for sure.
And that was all caused by the blue flag. Maybe just not quite slowing down enough. So NZCRL Blue will have a little bit to answer for that, I think.
Yes, unfortunately, it's when you're already a lap down at that point there. Unfortunately, yes, you want to try and make up as much time as you can. You don't want to fall off the back of the field any further than you absolutely have to. But when you see a train of 7, 8, 9, 10 cars, you've almost got to stop and just go bang, 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 let them pass. You've got one really bad lap and then get back to it, bit of clean air, and then try and find your groove again. But yes, very unfortunate.
Meanwhile, Kyle Johnson's gotten through on Lucas Marshall.
Ooh, yes.
That was without any blue flag interventions there. So I would assume that came going into the chicane or through the outer loop. But still, very well done by the Kovacs Benetton livery.
Yep, it's very nice. Very, very nice. And we're seeing a few of the guys saying Swampy Butt reckons that now that Ty's cleared Babby, this will be interesting to see whether or not having that clean air, is he going to be able to try and close that gap? 5-second gap is a big gap to try and close out.
Yeah, well, look.
Back onto Bienenfeld, who's got the fastest lap at the moment too.
Yeah, well, on that last lap, Bienenfeld was still 3/10 faster, and they both had clean air. So we know how quick Stephen Ty is, but yeah, I'm not sure what Bienenfeld's action has been like in Octane Online Racing over the past few months, but I know a few years ago when I was racing against him, he was absolutely rapid. So he's not going to be an easy customer to get through on.
Yeah, that's it. And it's one thing to try and catch up, and it's another thing to get past as well. We've said that plenty of times.
Yes.
As these guys have just opened up a little bit of a gap there, JC and Holmesy, on Vintner, Nipris and Taylor. So, finding a little bit of a groove there, JC, I reckon. But well and truly, Holmesy will be over looking at the back of that green GTR.
Yeah, absolutely. At least now he's sort of on his own, so he can attack a little bit more freely. Because, of course, we've seen plenty of action between Vintner, Nipris, and Taylor behind. So we will see what occurs. But Jamie Conboy has very much stabilized that and is now closing in on Glory Babby. So, it's gonna be interesting to see what Pain and Misery can do for Jamie Conboy.
Yeah.
That is a classy team name, might I just add.
Well, I wonder which one of the two is Pain and which one's Misery. Between the two of them.
Why not both?
Yeah, or both of them. Why not? And just looking, Steve Ty waiting for the next little split to come up now, but he's taking another 0.1, so he's now 0.3 of a second he's taken out of Bienenfeld. As we're looking, Vintner is going to hold on from Nipris there. Thought the GTR might almost have the legs to get him, but Vintner's not having a part of it.
Yeah, that's it. Wittner is doing pretty well at the moment, holding on to that P6 position. He's coming off of a strong result in the sprint series over the past week, and is taking that form with him as he's looking very, very good in the Shell Helix, both feet braking number 5 BMW, and looking like Matt Nipris might have a little bit more pace, and he's gonna have a look to the inside, but he just can't get it right, honestly. Seen more moves happen around the outside at the heel, and that little shimmy to the inside has just allowed Chris Taylor to close back in again and challenge for P7. So it is pretty much going to be the story of the race. You can attack all you like, but there is always going to be someone right on your heels, ready to pounce.
Yeah, that's it, and exactly that. Like, you look and there's that little bit there now. You know, it's only breathing room for probably half a lap there for Vintner, but all of a sudden, you know, Nipris is starting to sweat pellets because he tried to do the attack, tried to gain a spot, and then all of a sudden he's gone into all but full defense mode within 2 corners. Yeah, exactly. It's story that'll be the story of the race, I reckon. Was definitely the story of the first stint, as Holmes is trying to get the side draft against
not going to get
mighty
it.
GTR.
It's going to be tight. I reckon they're pretty much side by side, but Holmes did have to back. Oh, no, okay.
No, he's not.
How did they get too wide through there? I mean, they lost a bucket load of time, but JC still somehow ahead of Holmes. And now, well, Holmes has to be a little bit more careful because he's got Vidner right off his ass now.
Oh, that's it. And these guys had a good, you know, all but a solid second and a little bit. Well, there you go. It was 1.6 seconds. The gap was from Holmes to Vintner in that last at the last split, and now he's right up on the back of him, 0.4. So that little attack has now brought them back into the game again.
Yeah, it's just going to continue to ebb and flow as we progress through this race. I mean, so far it's been thoroughly entertaining, and we're still only 37 minutes in. There is plenty more where this comes from. Watkins, Glen, and the Duo Cup really delivering so far. Once we get into the pit stops, it's going to become even more interesting.
There we go.
Speaking of pit stops, there's the first one. So Holmes coming in, and he has got, so this is basically their half stint here, and for the rest of the race they'll do 2 70-minute stints. So that will mean that Holmes will come in, continue on, and then you'll likely see Purcell jump into that car at the end of the race, if I were to guess.
Yep, I reckon you're probably on the money there. If I was going to run it, that's probably how I'd be thinking there as well. Not that there's anything wrong with Tim Purcell as a driver at all, but if you're going to be running 3 stints, and the guy who's going to be doing 2 of them, I would be happy if it was me. I'd be happy to put my hand up for Holmesy to drive the 2 stints as well. So, you know, this gets a bit of fresh air for him. Hopefully, you know, they've probably done a little bit of math, looking at the track, going, okay, where am I going to come out? Am I going to come out in any traffic or much traffic? Am I going to be able to pick my way through without having too much loss? Because obviously, you know, you're talking the undercut here at the moment. Is this going to work in his favour? As I reckon Holmesy's pulled out in the middle of that backpack as they're just coming into the bus stop now.
He's 23.
Yeah.
That's going to be tricky for him.
That's going to be really tricky. How obliging are those guys down there going to be to let him past? And is that really going to affect the pace between him and JC? Yeah,
well, now he's pretty much going to be out of sequence for the rest of the race, so we're not going to really see where that 149 ends up until every driver are into their final stints. But so far, yeah, sitting in P23 is 1.8 seconds behind Hayden Marsh there in P22 in the number 27 McLaren. So he'll have a bit of work to do, but I believe what he's done is he's just fueled it up and sent it back out there. So don't think there's been a tyre change.
Yep. Which, you know, the pro guys can definitely manage a set of tyres well and truly past the 90-minute mark. You know, I've seen you've only got to have a look back at the last enduro that we had, and going out, you know, 95, 100 minutes into a stint is absolutely crazy. The tyre management, the fuel management that the guys, you know, at the pointy end of the field can manage. So yeah, I reckon you're probably right on the money there too, Lexi, with a bit more of just a splash and dash to get him through.
Yep. Yeah, it doesn't really surprise me too much. Just now, Niparis on the back of Vintner. This is now for P5. He's going to have a look to the inside, but Vintner once again breaks later. Looks like Niparis is just holding off a little bit because he knows that now they're right in that fight with Convoy, and with Home Source stuck in a bit of traffic. These teams could very much capitalize on a few little misfortunes with the strategy.
Yeah, that's it. As we're just starting to see a little bit, like you're talking that kind of half a second to not quite a second gap between a few of these guys, which only takes a little bit of the pressure off. Certainly not anywhere near enough where you go, oh, I've run a bit wide. Oh, that's talking about wide. As Vintner once again definitely finds the wrong side of the curve there. You know, don't want to get too many strikes too early on, because then it really compromises any form of attack later on in the race, where you go, you know, I've still got one or two track limits where you might be able to use, but definitely don't want to use too many of those up in the first half of it, that's for sure.
Oh, definitely. But yeah, so we're 2 hours and 18 minutes to go. Looking on here with Callum Gibbons in the 599 Pixel Racers entry. Doing nicely. Good to see Callum Gibbons in OOR driving around, but he's got a lot of pressure behind from McLaughlin in the 911 Porsche guys entry. That is with Damiano Turcolini. Damiano here. But right now it is McLaughlin in the car, and he's doing a reasonable job challenging the back of the Mustang. And we know that Mustang is no slouch in the straight line. Neither is the car ahead of Gibbons, the 153 Nissan, and McLaughlin having a look down the inside, but he can't do anything as yellow flag there coming through the outer loop. That is the number 2 car of Ataniake. So it's unfortunate there. He's managed to keep it going, but team breakdown, having a little bit of a breakdown there.
Yeah, not quite sure what happened, but in that spot, that location, it quite often comes off the back of hitting a curve the wrong way, getting a little bit out of balance through that bus stop, and then doesn't take long to get to that really kind of long but tight right-hander, which does make it quite tricky to try and pull your car up without trying to lose too much time, but definitely without trying to get damage as well. So yes, we've got GTR, Mustang, 2 Porsches, and see how they go, because the legs of that Mustang are very, very long.
Yeah, so now fight of the Porsches here as Michael Babb gets pretty close to the back in the 316 Bin Chicken Racing livery. A little bit of a more sedate livery from Bin Chicken Racing than what we're sort of used to. We have a look at a replay of what happened to Ataniake in the team breakdown entry, and yeah, that is too much speed, and yep, pretty easy mistake to make, buddy. Yep. Oh dear, that was Viney behind, having to take avoiding action, just not really expecting there to be a car on the outside, and eventually Ataniake does get underway and continues on in P20.
Yeah, wow, that was very, very well done to evade that from Viney, that's for sure. So as we were looking down the tree chart there, I know we've had quite a lot of GTRs which are well and truly outside of Rob Brickley in P21. All of the other GTRs are top 11. So, and then I'm looking, you've got 4 Porsches in a row. So all the Porsche guys looks like they're kind of sticking together as such outside of this little battle here with McLaughlin.
Yeah, really the only one of the Porsche guys, teams, in fact, yeah, what you got 911, 913, 914, you know what's missing is it the race leader at the moment, 912, sort of replaced there by the 316 of Babin, Bin Chicken Racing entry, but we'll just call him the honorary 915 car.
Yeah, I reckon. Oh,
McLaughlin here getting a slipstream off of the Mustang, if you don't mind. He's going to have a look around the outside. That was tight, but has to back out of it eventually. Just not enough straight line speed in the Porsche to be able to get through on the Mustang there. It's probably what's saving Gibbons a little bit here. It doesn't look like he quite has the pace of McLaughlin or Bab, but he's still doing a nice job holding off, just using the advantages that the Mustang has over the Porsches to be able to hold on to that P12.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those tracks that favours the agility cars. So, because you don't really have any straights, as I'm looking at number 27 of Marsh, who's just pulling into the pits as well. But yeah, it's definitely one of those tracks that it's great being able to have the power down that like a GTR or a Mustang has when you want to try and slingshot and then bang out of a corner into the next straight, which is great for those. But it's really quite an agile track, which really does, as we've seen, favour some of the more lighter, nimble cars, which is why the Porsche's right up the front there as well.
Stephen Ty has come to the pits at the 111 Rockets Evolved entry has come into the pits, so we'll keep an eye on where that Audi comes out in relation to Josh Holmes in the 149 Thunderdome Racing entry, as Matt Nipris having a little bit of a look at Ben Vintner, but can't do anything about it. Not close enough on this occasion, going through the bus stop here at the inner loop and into the outer loop does lose a bit of time, so nothing doing there. But keep an eye on the 111 in the pits. We'll see the 149 come through the final corner now, and it looks like Stephen Ty is not moving yet, so I reckon they're on a bit of a different strategy call here, although is now moving, so let's see. And yes, so the 149 does get through, and it's Aaron Lee in the car, so they have done a driver change.
Yeah, copy on that one. That's going to that was definitely close. I didn't know how that was actually going to end up playing out with the traffic there for Holmesy, but he's done a great job, leaped himself up to realistically, you could call that somewhat of a provisional P2, considering he's now in front of Ty, which is now Lee in the 111 car.
It is hard to really say at this stage because we don't know what the strategies are like. We're not really going to know from this point until we get into the last, say, 45 minutes or even the last hour. From here, things are going to get a bit jumbled, so going to cause a lot of confusion in the commentary box, I'm sure.
Yep. All I know is that Holmesy was a long way behind that 111 before either of them pulled into the pits, and he's now out in front. So it'll be interesting to see once. Obviously you got to try and see how everything plays out. It's a great thing about commentary is that you got to make up as many theories and as many stories as you can think of, and that's definitely one of them there, as to see how they're going to end up with JC in the 139 when these guys all come through for their first stop.
I think the key indicator of what strategy the 111 team are on is if Lee is able to get through on Holmes quickly or at all, because if he closes in, then you could expect they've changed the tyres along with the driver. Whereas you could also expect that Holmes has not changed tyres, but instead just changed, added fuel to the car. But right now, Holmes is looking pretty decent, and Lee's still bringing that Audi up to temperature.
Yeah, and that could be quite the dangerous driving, unfortunately, there for number 2, Jeff Bluth. Didn't quite catch what that was. Sure
that number 2 car was driven by a Taniake before, so I reckon that's a result of that little bit of a spin that we saw earlier, and perhaps the avoiding action that had to be taken by another driver.
Fine. And and they have done a pit stop there, but looks like wonder whether or not just trying to see what lap number we're up to compared to when that all took place. I'm sure we'll get some more info as that comes. But this could be the telling stories you're saying there, Lexi, as far as the tyre use goes. Is Holmesy going to be able to manage basically a stint and a half on a set of which will become very second-hand tyres, very used tyres by the time he comes into the pits there for the second stop. But that's really slingshotted, whatever that best way to say that word would be, right up there. So, which could be very interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, certainly. So, let's keep an eye on what happens as we see Lloyd come into the pits 216. As here is Nipris. He just can't find a move on Vintner. He gains a lot of time, but I think he's just choosing the wrong direction to go in at the heel.
Yep.
And we'll continue onwards and continue to try and fight his way past Vintner, but so far looks like Vintner's doing a pretty good job of holding him off.
He's been doing a very good job this whole race, because the whole time Nipris, this whole first stint has been all over the back of him. There's been 100% pressure applied every single lap. There's never been a moment that he hasn't been right over him. And same with Taylor. Taylor's just been sitting there. This could also be helping Taylor to possibly manage a little bit of tyre, manage a little bit of fuel. Interesting to see where they end up. As you said, we're not really going to know much of what's going to happen until we get to that last kind of 45 minutes where that everyone has done all of their pit stops, to really kind of see where everything's kind of left out. But, it'd be interesting to see whether or not with Taylor that they're able to manage their tyres a little bit better as well.
Indeed. So carrying on, we've got 2 hours and 7 minutes and 50 seconds to go. Johnson and Samuel into the pits. Meanwhile, looks like Lee is closing in a little bit on Holmes at the moment. So there is the potential that we could see a move between those two, but either way, it is a lot changing. A lot of things are changing right now in terms of this order. Out front, Benefield doing fantastic. He's 11.2 seconds clear of Babby, and he's continuing on. He's pushing on. We'll see what the lap time is like. His fastest is a 44.8, and on this time is at 45.4, so about 6/10 slower, but that's pretty good overall given he's spent about an hour on those tires.
Yeah,
and that seems to match what JC's doing. He's about 4/10 off of his overall best, although on that lap he was a lot slower. He's 1.4 seconds off, so a pretty poor lap from JC on that occasion.
He might have just been getting lonely waiting for someone to fill up his mirrors, I reckon.
As we see McLaughlin's coming to the pit is in the 9. Oh, that was close to the wall from Vintner. And
that was
now, can Nipris do anything about it? I don't think he's going to quite be close enough, and yet he's just not going to get any overlap, so he's going to have to blend back in, although Vintner has not done himself any favours there, and that's going to open the door as we come out of the outer loop, potentially for Nipris. But again, he's just not quite close enough. He just can't follow close enough, although he dives to the inside, but Vintner breaks late enough to avoid having the overlap with Nipris there. So he's under a lot of pressure now, and Nipris has to be careful because he's still got Taylor all over his rear end.
Yeah, that's it. It's still that same story. It's like, yep, got him, I got him. Oh, hang on, I'm just about to lose my position. It's great little battle going on. 3-way, 4-way battle going on here still in this top 6, top 7 cars. It's great to see. And Babs still is still all over the back of Gibbons too there, just battling out for the final places in the top 10. That little battle pack still going on as he's see Miller's there, but the 914 has come into the pits. So this is going to split up the end. Thurcolini in the 911. So both of those guys starting to split up these Porsches. So yeah, interesting to see how this. Oh, as Taylor goes a bit wide on that one as well. So interesting to see how many guys would have track limits through all of this. As even closer again,
has to tuck out from the slipstream a little earlier than he'd hoped for. And yeah, he's not going to get enough of an overlap, so he's going to try and compromise the run of Vintner, but Vintner does a very good job of getting through the bus stop, and now JC has a bit of room to breathe. Although, nice and wide from Vintner, and that's going to open the door for Nipris to go around the outside at the chute, but he just, again, doesn't quite come alongside enough.
Just can't quite execute it. He's almost getting too good a run out of turn 1, and it's like he's got to almost back off a little bit coming through that 2, 3, 4 section. So, but anyways, we'll find out. No, not up the inside there either. And again, as you're saying, like it's the right hand, left hand there. So it doesn't matter if you want to try and make the overtake on that first corner. Puts you on the outside for this one here, out through that 8 and 9. And then you're left out to dry. So you really got to try it around the outside at that turn 8.
Yeah, and the thing is, with Nipris trying to make those moves, he's leaving himself very, very vulnerable to tail behind. But now he's stuck in his own as Vintner comes into the pits.
There we go. Almost on the hour mark there. So it'll be interesting to see how they are wanting to play this one out, whether or not they're going to push for a big second stint, middle stint, or a short one. Be interesting to see where they end up as well. So
I reckon they're going to go even hour splits here. It may take a little bit longer for them with a tyre change, but yeah, it's looking that way. They're just going to split it on the hour.
Yeah, well, they can only do that for the first one because you've still got to get to your 75 minimum of a 75-minute mark for the stint timer. So it'll be interesting, to see, just shy that mark. I reckon they might almost push in for a 75-minute middle stint. If you are 55 minutes, you can run all but another 55 minutes at the back end.
Well, I mean, they've just changed the driver, so yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Gonna be very interesting.
Yeah, I reckon at 55 minutes.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, they've got the maths worked out in their heads. They'll execute it. Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting situation as we carry on through this race. Not sure how well some of these teams have managed the 60-40 ratio as Babby comes into the pits.
Yep, which now Benefield is just enjoying this track so much. So this will be interesting to see whether or not Babby stays in the car. Again, it's this weird, very weird timing, I reckon. Like I get the, you're in on the hour every hour, but this is the part that I love about the duos is you get that 60-40 split. You can't just run an hour. And so it's like, how are you who's going to run the rest of it as we're looking at Lee is all right up the back of Holmesy there now. So definitely starting to show I reckon, as you were saying there, Lexi, the fresh tyres versus the hour-old tyres. as 60 minutes in, Joshy Holmes is going to.
They're well and truly clear of Babby.
Through on Babby as well.
But I guess it's interesting to see what the gaps are like, because Babby did drop a fair way back from them previously, and who is actually in that car? It looks like it might still be Babby, but we'll see when it updates at the interval.
Yeah, I reckon.
Now...
Ooh, it's close.
Very close as Benefield comes in. So, yeah, interesting strategy calls. And yes, it is still Glory Babby in the car, and that gap has stayed pretty stable to Lee compared to pre-pit stop. So I think, yeah, hard to really say what the strategies are like now, isn't it?
Yep. Which is awesome. Awesome to know that you got no idea.
Yep. I'm just gonna have a brain aneurysm for the rest of this race, I think.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. Getting word from the man himself that some of the strategies for the Porsches will all but be able to make that one stop. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not the likes of Miller in the 913 is taking that strategy on and able to run just a single stop. Only time will tell. I suppose we'll see how that looks in the next half an hour.
The 912 has just come out of the pits and is still well clear of this battle, so they haven't lost really any time from the pit stop phase. There has the 912. Not sure where Benefield's still in the car or whether it's McDowell in the car now, but we'll get a sense, and yes, it is McDowell. So McDowell will be doing this middle stint, and then presumably Benefield will end out the race.
Yeah, so this will be a full, realistically a minimum of the 75-minute stint here now for McDowell.
And the Porsche can very well do that. The Porsche can absolutely do that.
Yep, without any dramas. How's anyone got some data crunching out there that no? Because I know the Mustang's not real great on its economy. Do we reckon that 2 stops is going to be enough for the Mustangs? Can they punch out well and truly over the 60-minute? But will they make it to the 75-minute mark? Can you get 75 minutes out of the Mustang? That's the big question.
I highly doubt it. The Mustang is a fuel guzzler.
Yeah, so that plays into it as well. So you go, well, if you can't get 75 minutes, you're going to end up having to run even a third stop. So you'd be running an extra one again. And
I'd like to point out the gap between Lee and Babby has come down to 0.5 of a second. I'm not sure whether Lee is on fresh tyres here, because that is a huge amount of time gained from Glory Babby straight away.
Yeah, I reckon it's also because he's getting a little bit stuck in behind Holmesy there as well.
Holmes is doing 47 once. That's definitely old tyres from Josh Holmes, but
yeah, and he had a 40. I think it was a 46.4 on that last lap, so he's slowing down even more. So, which could be quite the ability for Babby to be catching up on the back of these guys, because Holmesy might be just well and truly out of rubber.
Yeah, well, if he was out of rubber, then he would have a puncture, would he not?
Yeah, in the sense of well and truly past the use by date, not quite run.
The thing is, though, it's only just gone over an hour into the race.
Yeah.
If those tyres are already well and truly expired, then yeah, Holmes is in a bit of
big world of hurt.
Yeah, big world of hurt. He'd pretty much have to come in in 12 minutes time and just be satisfied with 75 minutes and go to the end with Purcell.
Yeah, and then Purcell would have to do another stop again too if the tyres are that bad.
Well, to be fair, I think that's really just going to have to be the case anyways.
Yeah, if he keeps going at this pace, be interesting to see what whether or not there was just a few little issues that he did have. But if he's going to be still pulling out, high 46s, 47s, as Babby pulled out a 45.5 on that last lap. Pulling out a second and a half on the back of these guys.
Well, we'll see what the lap time is like as he comes across. It was a 45.5, 45.6. Okay, so a little bit. Okay, so yeah, back to a 46.1. So it's probably just a bit of a mistake from Holmes on that previous lap, but it's still far from anything quick.
Yeah, it's still a long way. Be interesting to see what did McDowell do on that last lap. If anyone would be able to tell us, anyone who's got the full timing tree.
Oh, hold on, we'll just cut in there for a little bit as it looks like Babby's going to go to the inside of Lee, and that's a ballsy move, but he's got it done. Well done, Glory, Babby.
Wow. There's very few drivers that would be able to pull that one off. Wow.
Well and truly, that is huge.
There you go. Just got it from the man himself. 46.1 from McDowell on that last one. So these guys aren't that far off that pace then. So, okay, must have just been something going on with.
We'll see what it's like on this lap, because I think that was McDowell's first lap on those tyres. So still probably would have just been getting used to the car a little bit, as Babby is harassing the back of Holmes now, and Holmes is just holding on for dear life.
Yeah, it really is. He's definitely lost the edge of that Aston Martin as they're coming up on some more blue flags, and I hope I hope he's able to get out of the way this time.
Yeah, and
he rolls right off the throttle. There we go. Fantastic. That's how you do it.
Yep, much better. And on that lap, 46.5, so fair bit slower on that lap from Glory Babby. And yeah, the gap between McDowell and Holmes is 15.9 seconds. That's significant. And oh yeah, you can see how much Holmes is struggling. That is a lot of understeer. Now here comes Babby. He's probably going to have to go around the outside if he wants to get anything done here, but we know the braking power of that Lamborghini is pretty good, but he just can't get through. They're still sort of side by side, but Holmes does very nicely to give him the room and still hold on to the position, and he's putting the car in all the right spots at the moment.
Yeah, just staying on right in the center of the track. Maybe goes around the outside, which puts him onto the inside for the next corner, but he's lost it, and Lee's Lee's going to be on the outside for the next one. I've got to say, Lee's going to take advantage of this one, like what we've been saying the whole way through this race.
But what that's going to do is that 191 of Pickford, which was being driven by Johnson, is going to be right in their hands, and they'll be looking interested, but so will the number 23, currently driven by Cricky. That previously was being driven by Matt Nipris. So yeah, they'll be pretty excited to see that these drivers are scrapping, and Babby, he's going to have a look at the inside of turn 10. He just wants to get through as soon as possible and start closing in on McDowell. But Holmes is doing a massive, massive job here. And that's a big hit for Babby. That's going to be a bit of damage.
Yep, that one's going to take a bit of buffing.
And now the gap between McDowell and Holmes, 17.5 seconds. And oh dear, we've got side by side going up through turn 2 and 3 between Babby and Lee. It's going to be so tight through here. They still manage to get through, but crucially now, Babby's sort of going to be stuck a little bit boxed in, but it looks like Holmes has got enough of an advantage, and they're going to get through in the same order as they were before. But I'd be curious to see if there's any damage that hurts the time that Babby's able to get, as Convoy now finally comes into the pits.
Oh, that one was a little bit wide there for
Babby just wants to get through. He knows how much time he's losing here, and he's getting very impatient. You can see that the driving is getting a lot more ragged from all these drivers, and McDowell's just out here on a lovely Sunday drive. He's got no one around him.
And still, the more that these three have their little tiff, he doesn't even need to try and put out hard laps, because these guys are just slowing themselves down.
That 139 is moving now, so I reckon Convoy stayed in the car because he's going to come out ahead of McDowell here. So I reckon Convoy's still in that vehicle. I don't think they've changed drivers here.
Interesting.
Yeah, there you go. So Convoy's still in the car. So perhaps that Lucas Keys is having more issues than we thought.
Yeah.
Because almost would have... Although they did have to come in before that 75-minute mark, so perhaps Convoy is just doing a bit of a splash and dash and then going to let Lucas Keys do the last part of the race. But yeah, it's come out ahead here of McDowell's now. Side by side here between Holmes and Babby, but I don't think Babby's going to quite have the room to try and get through, and he won't. So Holmes still holding on. The gap now between himself and McDowell is 18.4 seconds. In fact, Taylor's come out ahead of them.
He has too.
So Chris Taylor, I reckon he's done a splash and dash as well. So he's come out ahead of Holmes, Babby and Lee and stayed in the car. He'll be doing a splash and dash, and we'll hand over to Cook later as Holmes has made an error and Babby's through.
And in that one little moment, as we're looking at Taylor, as Babby manages to make the move and make it stick there on Holmesy, which is great. You see him now. He'll just pull
Say
away.
Goodbye.
It was well and truly the cork in the bottle there is Holmesy. So this will just keep extending out. So interesting to see whether or not he's able to now, how much he can then really come up and start attacking Taylor as well. Because
the gap is big.
It's big.
16.2 seconds is nothing to scoff at there.
Yeah. So
it's going to take a few laps for him to really close in on Taylor, but Taylor hasn't really lost the back of McDowell here. But I think if you were to pick the faster of the two 912 drivers, you would definitely say Benefield's the faster one. But McDowell's no slouch either. He can put in a good solid shift, put in his 75 minutes, and hand it back over to Benefield at the end of the race. And I would say be a pretty straight shootout between Keys and Benefield at the end of this one. As here we go, it is Holmes just going a little deep, and there you go. Babby finds the gap and says, "Thank you very much. I will take that. I've been looking for that for so long." And he'll be very happy to see clean track ahead of him. Look at all the space he's got in front.
Yep, nice clear run there now, and he's already down underneath the 16 seconds, so he's definitely starting to push towards Taylor there. It will definitely take a long time to get there though. I wonder whether or not, because Babby, ended up so far down. He was in P2, so I reckon he's done the full fuel and tyres. If I had to
would say
guess,
so.
He to be as quick as he is, definitely done the whole lot. Whereas, as you said, a lot of the other guys probably just done the quick splash, enough fuel to get them through to either their minimum mark or wherever it is that they got to, the numbers that these guys are crunching themselves to. Kind of pulling out. I wonder how many of these guys are actually going to be doing that kind of 90-minute stints with a splash and dash in them. How many of these guys are going to be doing triple stops?
Yeah, going to be super interesting to find out, but Miller has come into the pits and looks like he's come out in what I would say be about P12 if I had to guess.
Yeah, by the time it all settles down.
P13. Not far off, not far off.
Pretty close there. Yep.
So, yeah, not too bad. He did not quite hit the 75 minutes, so he's going to keep going for a bit longer, and we'll let his fellow Miller come in for the final 75 minutes, I would say.
Yeah, I reckon you're on the money there, Lexi.
So, interesting to see what the 913 can do from here. Meanwhile, keep an eye on the gap between the 912 and the 28. It is now down to 17.6 seconds, so McDowell definitely not as quick. In fact, he's not closing in on Convoy too much, although as I say that, gap's now down to 5.3, so gains a fair bit there. So Convoy's had a little bit of a whoopsie-poopsie somewhere, perhaps just getting through on a blue flag car.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't take much as we're looking, and Lee is well and truly all over the back of Holmes as well, and that gap there for Babby already out to over 3 seconds in just a couple of laps was well and truly getting held up there from these two as they're battling out with their well and truly second-hand tyres for these guys here, going on to the 75 minutes, just over 75 minutes on these tyres. It's definitely getting worn out. So interesting to see what's going to happen in the next 15 minutes, which I reckon will be, as you're saying, will be probably more the time of when we might start to see the next lot of pits coming in to do the driver swaps.
Yeah. No, I think Aaron Lee would have to have gone on to fresh tyres because they exchanged drivers between Stephen Ty and Aaron Lee at the last stop. So I think Lee's just really struggling to get through. We'll see that Lee will do 75 minutes here and then carry over to Stephen Ty for the rest of the race. But yeah, he's just sort of having to manage the tyres, the fuel a little bit to make sure he gets that 75-minute mark.
Yeah, that's it, because if they are going to do just
Convoy's just come into the pit, so Convoy's hit his 75 minutes and he's now handing over. So they're doing 3 stops.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where he ends up pulling out as we're looking at, looks like Babby's just about to come past there now as well. Along there he goes, just overtaken in the
and Holmes is in as well. So Holmes has done his 75 minutes, and now it'll be over to Purcell for the rest of the race.
Yeah. So it's still not quite the 90 minute. So they've done their minimum. Interesting that they wouldn't have taken it right out to a if they had to do a splash and dash, and you got to fill up anyways. Whether or not you would not have tried to take it right out to the 90-minute mark. So, anyways, each one has their own thoughts and the ways of going about it. So interesting to see how that is all going to play out at the back end of the job, as we're seeing Lucas Keys is in the car now. So we'll see how techno this GTR is going to be, whether or not he's got a solid enough connection now with the server, and hopefully he will probably no doubt take it home the whole way now.
Yep, he'll do the rest of this race. He will need to do a splash and dash, but still the connection isn't the greatest, but we'll see what happens with him as he continues on. It doesn't look great, but perhaps that's just on our end. Hopefully for his sake it's not affecting him too much.
Yeah, and hope it's not affecting the cars around him. Make it hard to try and overtake. So yeah, it's only seems to be him, so hopefully hopefully for their sake that's not going to cause any dramas.
But the interesting thing though is, yeah, it's like I'm looking at the ping monitor on the left-hand side, and it's not really spiking up. So it's yeah, hard to really say. But yeah, again, hopefully, it's not too bad. Now he's coming up on the back of Ren, and he'll look to try and get through as soon as possible. And based on that exit speed, he'll get through in the turn 1.
Yes, he will chew up a lot of these middle marker without too much drama, I would dare say. I'd say most of them will go, yeah, Keys, yeah, I remember you were at P1, half a second in front of everybody else. I'm not really going to put up much of a fight. So,
yep.
See them through. And the next one, 8 seconds up, is Blake Griffiths, who's taken over as well in the GTR of the 175.
Yep, taken over from Marshall there. So Griffiths will be doing. Oh dear, Lucas, don't be doing that too often. You've got plenty of track ahead of you. You can start chasing after the lap times a little bit here, but please be a little bit careful. Don't do GTR things. Do we still have that bingo card going? Yeah. Here is Gobby in the 153 tented motorsports entry. He's taken over from Nathan Monks and is doing very well there in P7, if you don't mind. So got a little bit of time to gain over Pickford ahead of him, but yeah, look, still plenty to go in this race in terms of the strategies, but I would dare say that the ones who are on the two-stop strategy are going to be better off.
Yeah, I think the fortunate part is that at least it's not a super long pit lane in this one here. So if they happen to need to have the extra stop, you know, every time you call into the pits, it just burns time. So if you can manage to make it with one stop less while also maintaining your pace, obviously you're going to be wanting to go down that path as well. But the fortunate part is that at least they don't have a huge long, it's not like it's a minute, like a minute and a half kind of pit lane. Like I was just doing a little bit of practice at Indy, and holy motown, that's a long pit straight. So yep. When you're doing that at 50 k's an hour, you don't want to be doing that any more times than you absolutely need to. Fortunately, Watkins, Glen, that's not quite the case. So certainly not great, but it can definitely come down to the guys that end up with just the 2 pits. You know, that's, you only got to be talking, you know, 45, what are they, about 60, 45, 50 seconds, something like that, through there. Probably a little bit longer, just thinking for a slash and dash. Or as we go, Weatherburn is well and truly up on the back there of Gobby. He's letting him know that he's there. And yep. He's...
whoa! It's a little too much letting him know that he's there. And Weatherburn spins into the pit lane.
And goes into pits.
Yep, because he's probably picked up a fair chunk of damage there. And yeah.
Oh, yes. Yep, that is a lot of damage. A lot of damage. Unfortunate for Weatherburn there. Was all but had that advantage there, but you know, Gobby just not quite. There we go, Lucas.
Okay, just
on.
smashing the fastest lap out of the water by 0.7 per second, if you don't mind. Okay.
Yeah. Why not? Nothing else to do. So.
Yeah, look, he's already on the back of Blake Griffiths. Like, no big deal.
Yep, that guy is out of control. Next level.
My lord, that is some pace from Lucas Keys. I don't even know how to put it into words, really.
No, it's just alien pace, mate. Alien pace.
Yep. And now he's all over the back of Blake Griffiths and does has to hold up a little bit just to avoid running into the back of the fellow Datsun, but should be able to get up into the inside of the next corner. But no, has to back out of it a little bit as Blake isn't going to be too easy to get through, especially in this section of the track. And this is where Lucas is going to have to be patient. And now he'll look to the inside of the hill and should get the superior braking performance, and does, and up into P13.
Yeah, very hard to outbrake a pro, that's for sure.
Certainly. So, yep, there we go. Keys will carry on, and yeah, we'll see how things transpire.
Keep ticking the boxes. Okay, it's another one down. Rightio. Who's next? Rightio, moving on. Okay, who's next? And as we are watching McDowell here, back in P1, rightfully so. 3.5 seconds up from Taylor. Babby closing in at 11.8 seconds. That's down from about 15 when they first, when McDowell first came out, I think, thereabouts. So he's doing very well with that fresh set of tyres. And Lucas Keys with that pink fastest lap. That's going to be very, very hard to try and beat that one, I would dare say.
Yeah, and he's going to be closing at a rapid rate of knots, so he's going to bring himself back into the equation for the race win here. But absolutely, he will. It's just how things will go in, you would say, about 50 minutes time.
Yeah. Once it gets to that final, I reckon from the kind of semi-calculations in the head is you get to about that last 45 minutes, and that's pretty well whoever's going to be doing stints is when you're going to be finishing off your stints. So, yeah, be well and truly settled by that point there, and then it will be really coming down to the battle of efficiency. Who's being able to make the most out of their tyres? Who's got the most amount of traction left? Come that back 45 minutes. Who's pushed their tyres too hard? Who has tried to do a little splash and dash and to make for a great little ending? But huge little battle here for these couple of guys. There's too many Porsches around. Too many Porsches.
Oh, Lucas. Yeah, once again, just another fast lap. He hasn't gone into the 43s yet. He's washed. Absolutely washed old man if he's not getting 43s in the race. Like, come on, he said a 42 in the qualifying. Yeah. Surely he gets a 43 in the race.
Surely he's got a 43.
Surely he's got a 43 up his sleeve.
Yep, Rochford's got him there. That was very nicely and obligingly done there, I would dare say too. It's not battling too hard, knowing that you want to make sure that you're both coming out the back end.
Oh dear, and look who's just gotten through there.
Yep, green GTR is just in every shot, no matter who's battling anywhere.
The green bean machine.
That's it.
Now he's got Rochford up in front of him, and now this should be pretty easy for him. Rochford does defend the middle of the track, trying to hold him off, and he does do so for the moment. So Porsche's helping Porsches out a little bit here, but Rochford gets a little bit loose as Lee now comes into the pits. So Lee is okay, that's an interesting strategy from that 111. I'm not sure what's happening there.
No, that's...
That says, yes, yeah, they're pretty much guaranteed a 3-stop. Great. Interesting. Yep. Fun.
Yep.
Okay.
Definitely be a 3-stopper.
Yeah, look, I don't quite understand it, but...
neither of them have done enough. But, it could be, if you're doing a 3-stopper, that's around the outside. Lucas Keys.
A lot of trust in Rochford there, but he's done pretty well.
Wow, that is definitely a lot of trust for Rochford to not push him so far out. I suppose even if he does end up pushing out, he might get a track limits warning, but there's still plenty of runoff out there if needed. But yes, I think Rochford did very well to be able to control the car on the inside of that turn, for sure.
Yep. So Keys, yeah, he's in the top 10.
Yep.
He is
back there
absolutely flying.
Yep. Going back to a couple of the other guys that the likes of Lee. Interesting. I'm trying to think back to who kind of called in earlier, as in whether or not you're going closer to if you got to do 3 stops, do you just run your car to a 45-minute split? You go 45 minutes in, 45 minutes, 45 minutes, and then you're home, to try and keep things even. Does that keep a bit of your fuel load weight down, because you go, well, I'm only going to be doing a 45-minute stint. I don't need to be putting 120, 130 litres of fuel in the car to
I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters, because you're still going to be wasting a lot of time in the pits doing driver changes and changing tyres and all sorts. It's just, yeah, look, I don't think I would quite understand that sort of mentality.
Yeah, if you could, I was going to say, maybe if you, what's the likelihood that you're going to get 90 minutes of usable tyres? Obviously, if you got to do it in an enduro because you're trying over a 10 or a 12-hour stint, that you can save yourself a couple of pit stops over that time. But a 3-hour race is like, oh. Yeah.
We saw how slow Holmes became towards the end of his stint, and he only did 75 minutes on those tyres. So, yeah. Speaking of not quite going so quick, McDowell's losing a lot of time here. He's was about 3-something seconds ahead of Taylor, now only 1.6, and Taylor's on older tyres, if I'm not mistaken. So, McDowell's in a bit of trouble here, because that gap between McDowell and Babby is now only about 13.6.
Yep.
He's got to be careful here, because he still has to do another 45 minutes.
Yeah. Yep. He's got a big one to go in this middle stint.
That 912 might be struggling. I reckon Benefield's going to have to do a lot of work in this last stint if they want to hold on to that win, because not only do they have to consider what the 695 is doing, because I reckon what Taylor's doing, he's going to extend to an hour and 15 minutes to go, hand over to Cook, and Cook will just go to the end of the race. Babby's still in this in the 28 car, which alongside Slady, and then of course can never count out Lucas Keys in the 139 alongside Jamie Comboy. Jamie did a very good job, given that it was fairly compromised run for him, as the 78 has gone around the 78. That is Pete repeat. So yeah, David Naver, and that's a lot of rear end damage on that.
Yep, that one's going to be hard to try and keep the back end of that car.
Roll it through pit lane. I think that's
Is he going to?
It's not looking good. Nah, he's going to keep going, but it doesn't look good.
Maybe if you give it another lap or two, just to see what the balance of the car is doing. Can you work with it or not? They might be also trying to run to a bit of a number as well, and go, okay, well, you've got to struggle out there for another 15 minutes or something like that until your stint's over, or you never know. Is his steering wheel still pretty straight? We'll find out at the end as he comes up onto this straight here. Suspension still, and
it looks pretty straight. It's just how well it performs through some of these corners, and whether he is still finding the lap time compared to what he was before, because rear end instability in the Porsche usually means death.
Doesn't have much at the best of times, let alone when you've completely broken up your rear diffuser as well. So when your aero is well and truly compromised, it certainly makes it tricky.
Certainly, but we'll see what David Neighbour can do. He's sitting P18 at the moment. Unfortunate, but these things can happen in such long races. Speaking of, we're just a little over halfway through.
Yes, just over halfway through. So looking to see as well, going back through chat, is anyone going to try and do a two-stopper? Or as in like just a single stop, like just a two-stint? I don't think anyone who's there has not already stopped twice.
There's quite a few people that have only stopped once. So the 912 out front, they've only stopped once. The 695, they've only stopped once. The 28's only stopped once. So there's quite a few out there that have only stopped once. In fact, really, you look at the whole top 10 apart from Lucas Keys, they've only stopped once.
Yeah, right, yeah. So there'll definitely be the triple stints, but there's a few there looking at trying to just do the three stints, so the two stops, whereas, there's definitely a few cars out there that are going to be running three stops.
Yeah, and one of them, Lucas Keys,
probably the top of them.
Yeah, he's just gotten Tyrrell King up in the P9, so very, very quick. But yeah, McDowell 46-1. That's not really all that competitive, as considering he is presumably on only 40-minute-old tires at this point.
Yep.
And Taylor behind, you would think, would be on tires that are about 96 minutes old.
Yeah, to be able to make his way back up that far, there's no way that he's look, McDowell's really, really struggling. Yeah.
Yeah.
But just holding on as well as he can. He's got 75 minutes that he has to do to get that Porsche through, which, is definitely possible. We all know that the Porsche will do 75 minutes without even breaking a sweat. So it's really just a matter of trying to. Oh, and there we go. Taylor's in.
Okay. It's a yellow line there. It's a solid yellow line. I'm not sure what the pit entry requirements are for here, but I'm pretty sure because it's a yellow line, might be okay.
Yeah, maybe if it's because unless you got someone behind you. But I would have almost thought that your pit entry is you got to be behind that line from the start, so that even if you are or you are not indicating that you're going in, that that'll be interesting. Obviously, the stewards probably can't hear us, but that'll be an interesting one if somebody wants to make a call out on that one. It'd be very interesting to see whether something does or does not happen from that.
As we now move on to the 223 of Ramez, he is holding off Damiano Tercolini and the inevitable.
Once again, back in shot.
As we move on to what is the 55th lap of this race, and we've had a lot happen so far, and we still don't really know what's going to happen. As now Lucas Keys is going to fly past the Porsche of Damiano Tercolini and up into P8, and you'd think it's only a matter of time before he gets through on Ramez as well.
Yes, I would dare say so, considering the pace and the balance that Lucas Keys has in that GTR. It's definitely not a matter of if, it's always a matter of when. So I don't think that when will be needing to hold our breaths for too long.
So we'll hold on to this battle for a little bit as we wait to see what happens with Lucas Keys on Ramez. Samuel is going to have a look to the inside at the heel, and he's going to dive it and get it done nice and easy. So that is Lucas Keys up now into P6, and he's closing in rapidly.
On fire. Absolutely on fire, that guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, also a great little battle there for Tercolini and Samuel, even though we are well and truly looking at the blistering pace of Lucas Keys. These two really battling it out for the close to the back end or mid pack really of the top 10. It's been a great little battle for these guys going on.
definitely. I would just like to point out, because of all these pit stops and differing strategies, Cricky's in third. As we see, now Damiano gets through on Ramez Samuel up the inside through turn 1 and 2. But yeah, I'd just like to point out that Cricky in the 23 is currently sitting in third. A little bit of pressure from behind in the 191 of Pickford, but Cricky putting in an excellent performance so far. But yes, it was sort of inherited that a little bit with the performance that we saw from Niparis, but also the pit stops that we've seen. But he's kept it clean. He's put himself in the position where he is now and doing a fairly reasonable job for the 23 Silver Class Pixel Racers Nismo entry.
Yeah, that's it. Bit of consistency from these guys. You know, trying so hard, like, you know, unfortunately for them, not being able to find a way past. But, you know, that may have been able to help a little bit of economy as well for them. And, yeah, doing really well, being able to hold on to this one. So, you know, these guys, if they end up playing it well, you know, it could be another one of the just the two stoppers. And as we have mentioned many times before, the less amount of times that you need to be in pits, the more likely you are of being at the pointy end.
My lord, Lucas Keys is just... he's not human. He just really isn't human.
No, there's no way that you can catch that many cars that quickly. Oh, as Jobby's just gone a little bit too wide, he's just unsettled the car, and it's just had to
say goodbye.
Let him past. It's like
he's in fifth now. That's pretty unbelievable from Keys, and he's going to be catching up to Pickford and Crick in short order, but then it'll be a long gap before he can catch up to Babby, who himself is closing in within 10 seconds of McDowell, so that could really tighten up as we get to the end of this stint.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting to see how that...
hang on, Babby has to come into the pits soon, doesn't he?
He will have to come in shortly.
He'll pretty much have to do it at the end of this lap, or either end of this lap or next lap, to hand it over to his teammate, or else they're not going to hit the 60-40.
Yeah, so 75 minutes, because I haven't seen Slady in that car. So, yep, an hour 15 is the minimum time that any driver can drive. So within the next 3 minutes, Babby will have to come in and hand the wheel over to Slady, because Slady hasn't been in the car yet either.
Yep, so we'll probably see that at the end of this lap, I would suggest, so they have a bit of time to leave. Not sure what the Lamborghini can do in terms of stint length, but it's not going to be easy as Pickford now comes into the pits. Pickford's going to have to continue. Pickford's going to have to continue going, isn't he? Because he came in. Yeah, Pickford's going to have to continue going, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he is. He'll have to do a bit more.
So I think they're going to have to do a 3-stop.
We're getting some numbers crunched in the background for us. Oh,
sorry, we
got someone going through the middle.
That is a lapped car by the looks of it.
Yeah, going through the middle of the bus stop, that one.
Yep.
Letting everyone past. So 1 hour 48, because I think, 90 minutes, 100. So getting it as a minimum of 72 minutes stint timer to meet the 40% minimum time. So yeah, definitely within the next couple of laps, we will be seeing Babby coming in. So interesting to see how that one plays out from him. Far out, Babby's done such a great job in keeping just consistency as well. Like, you know, a lot of times he's had when he's been into the pits, he's ended up behind a few guys. You know, he took on the other set of tyres, put him back a little bit further too in the pack, and he's you know, had to fight his way through, and done such a great job to get it within 10 seconds of McDowell in P1. He's done a great job in the 1 hour and 45 minutes that he has currently been in the driver's seat.
Absolutely, and Cathal Slade will be able to do much the same, I would suggest, given the pace that he had in the qualifying session just gone. So, yeah, this number 28, well, the team name is 8 laps down, but they're definitely not 8 laps down. They could very well win this race depending on how things go to the end here, but you would suggest Cathal Slade will be going to the end of this one after Glory Babby comes in.
Yep, and definitely we'll be seeing that one happen shortly.
Yep, so keep an eye on things, but yes, Glory Babby doing a fantastic job, and since he's coming up to a little bit of blue flag traffic, perhaps it happens now, but no, he's going to extend this as much as possible, I think, just to ensure that Slade can get to the end of this race. Of course, it will be about 72 minutes he needs to do, but there's also potential that it could go for another minute and 45 seconds longer on top of that.
Yeah, so which would be work in his favour if that is the case too. So he will well and truly meet his minimum time requirements then. So if he can take it out a couple of minutes past.
But fuel.
Yeah, whether he can make the fuel for it. That's true. Is he going to be able to get... Yeah. Yep. And yeah, it pretty well comes down to
I'm pretty sure he pretty much has to come in at the end of this lap.
Yeah, I think I'm agreeing. I reckon he will. And we'll
well, the thing is, though, he's not going to have a minute and 45 seconds to do another lap, because he is about to get to a minute and 45 seconds now. So he pretty much has to come in at the end of this lap.
Yep. That's it.
Meanwhile, Keys is into P3.
Did not take him long to catch up to Cricky at all there.
Yeah, the problem now is that he's about 20-something seconds behind Babby.
Which won't take long until he gets past at the pit stop.
Yeah, 29.1, so let's see.
There he goes, slowing down.
No, he's going to try one more. It's going to be tight. It's going to be very tight. Yeah, he would have had about 60 or 70 seconds saved and stop. So he's going to be borderline, I reckon.
Well, thanks, Babby. You got us all wrong. We were all expecting you to pull into pits, mate. Come on.
In before he gets disqualified for going over the stint timer.
Yeah.
Because when you get to this moment, the last thing you want is something bad to happen to you, and all of a sudden your stint timer ticks down to 3, 2, 1.
Yep.
As Cricky comes into the pits. So I think that team as well is pretty much committing to a 3-stop. But then again, I don't think the Nissan was going to do 2 stops anyways, as the 72 has gone around there. That is Bowden. Oh, and that is well and truly around. That is facing the wrong direction. Can't park there, mate.
Yeah, definitely a no parking zone. Fortunately, he was still off the road, which is good. Gets going again. No other damage done. Looking at the little battle for the back end of the top 20 as well, as probably not a bad one to look at while we watch as Babby. Sure, there we go. Comes in, follows the inside.
And he keeps it within the lines. Beautiful. So he's
with
just done it.
barely seconds to spare.
Yeah. So, okay, so number 23 have been forced to do a driver swap due to Cricky's unfortunate ping. Yeah, you can see the red blinking.
Oh, great little battle here. For the back end of the top 20. Four cars. Actually, they all for position there.
Yep, so that's
looking at Hopkins
Hopkins getting through. That's Bank now diving up the inside. That's brilliantly done. Means that Baker goes a bit wide and through goes the Porsche there. That is one of the Porsche guys' entries. Is the other Porsche guys' entries of what looked to be Damiano Turcolini has gone around at turn 1. As we'll see, Babby is rolling out of pit lane now, and he's going to come out what looks to be in P. Well, Turcolini's down to P7, so Phil Slade be about P. A position. P8, I'm guessing. Or P9. Yeah, P9, there we go.
Yeah, behind 316.
Yep. So it worked itself out in the end.
But yeah, it's great to see some battles right up and down the field here again too, as well. And Watkins Glen is great for that. Great battles here, there, and everywhere. So there's these guys pretty well not quite as aggressive as you see a lot of the pro guys, but really good to see the battles. You know, right down even in the ProAm. You know, the ProAm guys here. You know, they're all still out there having a solid crack. Loving the 444 Blue. We'll do a little shout out there to Rusty, currently in that car over in the big NZ. Loving life. He's able to make this series work this year or this season. So that's great to see as he takes a big aggressive dive down. Is Miller gonna let him pass? No, he's able to outbrake himself there.
Here's the slipstream.
Holds in line, but will the GTR be able to grab him coming up into the bus stop?
Look at how tight this is between these three. It is so incredibly tight. It's now Hopkinson has to go to the outside, and I reckon he's going to just get it done, but no, Miller dives it. That is really aggressive from Miller, and he holds on to P17 for now, and Bank is now really hassling the back of Hopkinson here.
Yeah, again, that's the story of the race, isn't it, Lexi? You go for the attack, and then you've got to, you got to resettle yourself, and then the next thing, it's instant into defense mode, straight onto the back end.
Yep, always going to be keeping an eye on everything around you. Is keeping an eye on the progress of Kafil Slade. He's 3.5 seconds behind Rochford, so still waiting to see what he can do. But here we are looking at what Bank can do on Hopkinson, and Hopkinson can do on Miller. As you say, Hopkinson joining from New Zealand. It's just past midnight over there, so doing very nicely to attend this race and still be wide awake to get through this on what is now a Sunday morning over in the land of the Kiwis. Onwards to many religious sites, I'm sure, tomorrow morning, but right now he's got to focus on the religion of Datsun, and is praising the turbo right now to get him closer to the 913. And look at how much speed he's gaining. Look at the overspeed he's getting with the slipstream, and he's going to have to look to the inside. This might be Hopkinson's pass through.
He's got him now.
Yeah,
he's got him now.
And truly, it's easy as you like for Hopkinson in the KA Motorsport entry, and he's up to P17.
Yep, there's that's another one of those slingshot ones where we were saying, like, that move starts as you're coming out.
Oh, wow, that's a
turn one.
5.5 from
Oh, that was
Bank. What a move. But Bruce Miller comes back, but he's onto the grass.
No.
And now, side by side between Miller and Bank, and it looks like Miller is just going to hold on to it, but what a send from Bank. Oh my jeebus.
Oh wow, that was out of control. That was crazy. Yep, he was definitely keen. I'll give him that, that's for sure.
Yeah, just a little as now Dylan King having to defend from Brad Cook, and Cookie easy as legs through around the outside and up into P5, going through turn 9 now. So they're on fresh tires and they're looking to go a long way. He'll probably need to do one more stop in this one, but yeah, looking pretty good for Cookie at the moment. He's come out fair way ahead of Kafil Slade still, so looking in great shape is the 695.
Yeah, and even the number 5 BMW there of King. Oh, hang on.
Damiano with the 10-second penalty for causing a collision on lap 62. Naughty Damiano.
Yeah. No, just gonna say, you know, great job too for King in the number 5 BMW for the, you know, leading out the silver class drivers there. He's the whole time been kind of hanging around that kind of 5-6 mark. So, you know, hats off to those guys. They've been doing really well as these guys are catching up, as we were literally just watching the race there for Hopkinson, Miller and Bank, and there is those guys battling out in front of these guys here as we're seeing battles left, right and centre, right up and down the field. So as Cook is well and truly all over the back of Samuel here, and fresh tyres is very aggressive Cook, and he's
beautiful. Oh, that is stunning from Brad Cook. I don't even have words for that. That is just breathtaking.
Yeah, that was almost like Samuel was just stopped.
Yep, that's the effect that new tyres can have, and we're starting to see it from Kafil Slade, who's up into P8 ahead of Rochford, and now up ahead, side by side here between Bank and Miller. Bank up the inside. This is going to compromise Cook a little bit. He's not going to be very happy with this, but he'll get through up on the inside, and Miller will have to concede that position now, but yeah, there you go. He goes out nice and wide, trying to carry as much. Oh, don't. Okay, I see what.
Oh no!
What do you? Just hold your line, please. Hold your line. Look.
Just stay to the left. Stay to the left. Or stay to the right now.
I know you were just in the battle, but please get your head in order, Bruce Miller.
Yeah, I get it, mate. I get it. It's nothing worse than when you're in the middle of all of that and you've literally just been overtaken, and now you're like 10 seconds away.
Yeah, it is. It is a very tough predicament to be in. To be fair, like it's not easy to work your head around.
But if he can try and keep up to these guys, blue flags is blue flags, and we know that Bank is going to have to let these guys past as well. So if he can try and keep on the back end of these guys, you know, that might bring him back up to Bank.
Yeah, certainly. Because I'm just hoping to keep an eye on what the gap is between McDowell and Keys, but unfortunately the first sector is too short to get a sense of what the gap is at the moment. So we'll monitor things, but I think it's about 32 seconds at the moment. So currently McDowell is doing enough to be able to hold off Keys, because you have to remember both cars need to do one more stop, but crucially the 139 has to do a stop that's about 20 seconds quicker. So yeah, there you go, 29.2 seconds. So pretty nip and tuck at the moment, but he's doing enough right now, and he'll have about 13 more minutes in the car. We see 216 pick up a 10-second penalty. So that is the NZCRL red of Lloyd and Baker. Baker currently in the car.
Yep, unfortunately didn't see that one, but no doubt a little bit of a misdemeanor. That would be very unfortunate for their race.
Indeed, so carrying on, we still got a fierce battle here between Samuel King and Damiano Turcolini. King doing very nicely, holding onto the back of Ramez. Of course, both King and Vintner have done fantastic jobs in this race, and they've put themselves in a position that's about 10 seconds clear of their silver class rivals in the 316. That is the Bin Chicken Racing entry of Bab and Rochford. Now King's having to defend the inside against Turcolini, but Turcolini, I think, might be able to get this done. No, he just has a bit of understeer getting on those marbles and now has to really dive up the inside, and King does give him the space, but Damian has to be careful. He's already got 10 seconds and he's still got the nose in there, but King does finally hold off, but he goes very, very wide, so that's going to compromise his run coming through turn 11. And Damiano, can he get the exit? Oh, it's going to be tight, and it's side by side as we run down towards turn 1. And Damiano on the outside is going to be hard ass to get it done, but he's going to brake very, very late and swoop around the outside nice and clean. Oh, King gets very, very close, but cannot fight that anymore. Damiano up into P6.
Yeah, that was a good little bit of racing room there, being able to work in alongside of each other. They're giving you just enough room, a couple of little taps there, I reckon, in amongst it. But that was some good little racing, good little battle that.
Now, keeping an eye on things. So McDowell to Keys is now down at 27.8 seconds. I reckon this race is going to be between, at the end, well, the 912, the 139, and then looking further down, I reckon also looking at the 28. The 695 could find its way into the belt, but I think with that additional stop, it's just going to find itself a little bit too far back.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see whether or not Slade in the 28 will be able to make that 75-minute stint work. I think the Lamborghini should be able to make 75 minutes work. It'll be very tight. I don't think there'll be too much. It'll be almost running on vapors by that stage. But
running off the smell of an oily rag.
That's the one, mate. That's the one I'm thinking. There's a rag in somewhere, but I can't think of the first couple of words at the moment. So, yeah, if Slady's able to just stay consistent, keep in the the 44, 45. He'll definitely be right up there at the pointy end, at the back end of the race as well, if he's able to manage to not need to have any other stops.
Yep, and right now he's doing just that, mid 45, so he's managing the pace well. He's making sure he has enough fuel to get to the end of this race, and that will be crucial if they want to win this Duo Cup race here, round 1 at Watkins Glen. Meanwhile, okay, so it seems like Keys gains massively through that middle sector. He gains about a second in that middle sector, but can't really gain much anywhere else throughout the lap, which is surprising for the Nissan.
I was certainly would have thought that it would have been more the that first sector through the slalom, that 2-3-4 slalom, that it would make up the most amount of time. So yeah, very interesting that it's more so in that middle sector. So he's obviously just got it dialed in really well through some of the turn, point, shoot corners. So very interesting.
As Miller lets Slade go through.
Yep, that Samuel Circolini King battle still going on.
As Damiano gets through on Ramez. Yeah, Ramez is looking pretty slow. Yeah, Glen picking up that he's most likely saving fuel to get to that 75-minute mark to ensure they only have to do the 2 stops in this race. Because, yeah, 48.6, that is awfully slow.
That almost sounds like something wrong.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
About 3 seconds off the pace there at the moment, so...
That got a little close there.
Well done there, King.
But, yeah, okay,
And here comes Slady up behind them too.
Yep, so Slady is riding amongst this. I reckon could still, be in the hunt for the race win here, but it's not going to be easy for that team. Keys is now about 25 seconds away, so it's closing in all the time. And McDowell still has to do another, I'd say, 5 laps. So the gap will be down to, I would say, just under 20 seconds, which is going to put a lot of pressure on Benefield.
Yeah, will do. I think Benefield's, obviously got, he's well and truly got the pace there as well. As we look at Slady, wasn't even hardly in the picture there in that first sector. And now he's all over the back of Samuel. So it's definitely showing that Samuel's trying his
He's coming in.
70. There he goes. So he obviously, again, driving to a number where he's like, okay, I've got to get to a certain lap or a certain time that he needed to do to know that he could get everything through. So he was obviously just doing lots of fuel saving to make that happen. So as so that would have been as we're hearing from Glen, that was to get to his minimum driver stint time, so which also is a big topic. So he's made his 73 minutes there, so he's well and truly got that one clear and done. So it'll be interesting handing from Samuel, handing it back over to Samuel again to see the race out. So no doubt they will doing a driver change. They'll be doing tyres as well. So that'll be a very quick car coming into the back end of this race too.
Very much so. Here is Tim Gobby as he's going very wide there through the toe. Nice drift action from the Nissan as he's 2.3 seconds behind Cook, who got true and has a nice gaggle of cars behind, but none of them are for truck position until you get back to Damian Turkling, who's 4.5 seconds back.
Yeah, and looking Hopkins and Rusty there had a pretty decent gap over Bank and Miller, but as we're looking, Bank and Miller have caught right up onto the back. So whether or not he's had some blue flags that he's had to slow down and let past, and these guys have been able to catch back up again. He's currently running not that far off his best time, his personal fastest lap. He's only 0.4 of a second off his fastest lap that one round, so he's certainly not slouching around. So obviously a few things that have kind of ended up in his way over the last couple of laps that have let these guys kind of back in.
Certainly is. Damiano is now into the pits, so he'll be handing over, presumably. He's served his 10 seconds, so he's done a little bit of a fuel splash as Tarab Bank picks up a 15-second penalty, causing a collision on lap 63. Presumably, that would have been with Miller.
Yep.
So
doing the mad overshoot, and Miller taking evasive action to not get hit and getting pushed out into the bank, into the guardrail there. So I'd say that's definitely what that one was from too.
Yep.
As Slady up into P6 already, so all over the back of King. King's going to have to pit at some point as well. So this is really playing into Slady's hands here as all the guys are getting closer to the back end of their tyres, all the other cars that are around, so hopefully making it more aggressive for him to be able to really take the most of, as we see once again catching right up onto the back of King as he's coming through that turn 9 section, and again just a matter of time before he's going to make this move as well.
Indeed, so through the final corner goes Dylan King. And yes, Lady is looking pretty fierce at the moment, so I don't think he'll be very long in there. Yeah, look, King sort of struggling through the braking zone into turn 1, and yeah, Slady, I reckon next lap should be able to get through, but we'll continue looking into what King can do, and on board now with Slady, who has did a 46.2 on the last lap, so not ideal, as the 78 has gone around in the pit lane, or in the pit straight there somewhere.
Yeah, that's a bit weird. Stopped like at pits, but not in pits. Ooh.
Oh dear, that okay. I think something's happened here.
That looks well and truly second-hand, that car.
Yeah, look. It don't look great.
So I reckon that car looks like it was probably a return to garage, if they're still in yellow and they're back at the pits itself. I reckon he's had definitely had something very, very average going on there. So yep, we'll leave that in the hands of the mighty Glen to see what he can get, as Slady makes a big move up the inside. He's gonna push King wide. Is King gonna hold a position? He does,
come into the pits.
and he's coming into the pits anyway. Oh! Compromising the exit there for Slady, doing really well not to take the wall out there.
Yep, that was yep.
Close. Very close.
All right, well, continue on. Keys is 18.5 seconds behind McDowell. McDowell will likely do one more lap before coming into the pits, just to ensure. Okay, that 78 has been disqualified by the looks of it.
Yeah, copy.
Because that's showing up as black on the track map, so I'm pretty sure that's a DSQ.
Yeah, it would be now, because all the others that are in there are just that grey. So I wonder whether they've not been able to manage their stint timers.
Yeah, not too sure. Well, here is what happened to that car, and we'll see on the exit here.
Bounce. Oh!
Porsche things.
Porsche things. Ouch.
And then let's see.
Is he able to hold it? He's still going. He's still going.
Yeah, he's still going, but let's have a look.
I don't know. It seems very odd to be still up and running and going, but then
He comes into the pits.
yellow, but then being yellow as well. So
Did he overshoot his pit box?
oh, he's going pretty quick. He's super fast into pits there.
Yep. And then where is he going to be coming in? That's the question. That's unfortunate. Gets to the end of pit lane. Yeah, that's strange, that.
Yeah. Another one for the ACC record.
Yeah, DSQ for pit speeding.
Yeah, that was very quick. That was definitely coming in quick.
Yep.
As Vintner is back in the
McDowell's in.
BMD. McDowell is in now as well.
So that will be
Purcell's
changing
in,
back over.
Rochford's in.
Oof.
110 kilometres an hour, so yeah.
Okay, so yeah, the DSQ activated when he exited the pit stop. Okay, that makes a bit of sense then.
So that's an internal ACC thing as well.
Yeah, so the game is going like, hang on a minute, that's illegal.
Yeah, that's a definite no-no.
Yeah, now I'm interested to see, where does that 912 come out in comparison to the 28 of Slade? So presumably, yes, Daniel Benefield is in the car. He's going to the end of the race. Slade is coming through the final few corners now, and I think it's going to be tight, but I think Benefield will be out ahead by about 3 seconds. So that gap has come down massively.
Huge. That's huge game there for Slade.
We'll take a look at... Oh.
I think he was too busy trying to look at the trap map to see how far in front Benefield was.
No, I think that's our fault, that one. Well, let's see. So Benefield crossed the line. He's 7.2 seconds behind Cook, who still needs to make one more splash and dash. And the gap is 5 seconds to Slade.
And
so
Lucas is now back to P1.
But he will need to come into the pits.
He will have to come in, yes.
And he's doing it now. Now, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting. He's going to have to fill up about 15 to 20 seconds worth of fuel.
He's got 42 seconds to cook. Oh, this is going to be so tight. This is going to be fantastic.
It's not really Cook that we're focused on. It's more Benefield here.
Yeah, only that I was just thinking the gap back to Cook at the moment.
So it's about 50 seconds back to Benefield. It's about a 30-second transfer, and I reckon he's going to be stationary for about 20 seconds. So this is going to be ultra tight. So Benefield coming through the final corner now. Keys is still stationary. I think Benefield...
Going to have him here, yep, for sure. Oh, Slady in the background, tapping the wall. Benefield's definitely got him.
Keys is still stationary.
I wonder if he's doing tyres.
Yeah, are they doing tyres? He would have to be doing tyres. Because that was definitely...
Yeah, that was...
So, fresh
long.
tyres for Lucas Keys. He's put himself on an even playing field with Benefield, but crucially, much fresher tyres, presumably, than Kafil Slade.
Yep.
And
well, Slade was in at the the hour. So Slade's had 30-minute-old tyres at the moment.
Keys has to gain about 13 seconds. There was a car run there. That's the 914 that was around, just in the background that we saw.
Yep, back up and running again now.
Yep, just ahead of the team car in the 913. So that 914 has had an absolute horror show today.
Yes, they've tried hard, but not quite managed it very well this race, unfortunately for them.
So, if my maths is correct here, yep, it's about 12 seconds.
With Slady in the middle.
About 12, yeah, be about 12.7 sort of thing. Or 11.7, something along those lines, so yeah. Pretty much 12 seconds. This is going to be interesting because we saw that Benefield had good pace. He won't need to have as much fuel in the car. He did a 45 flat on that last lap, but we know Keys can do 44 ones.
And especially with he would only have enough fuel to do his 44.5 minutes worth of racing.
Yeah.
As well, he's not going to put an extra 5 litres or an extra 10 litres in there just to be on the shore side. He will have the absolute minimum amount of fuel in that car to take maximum advantage of any weight that he can.
Getting confirmation that Keys was in and stopped. for 30 seconds. So that is fresh tyres.
That is fresh tyres.
So he's got 12 and a half seconds that he needs to find to catch up to Benefield. But he needs to overtake Benefield as well.
And he's got Slady 5 seconds up. Still got yeah. I think the tricky part's going to be whether Slady's going to be able to hold on to P2 with 30-minute older tyres.
Yeah.
Get to that back end, and you've got, you get to that last kind of 15 minutes, and your tyres are an hour old, and you got Lucas Keys blistering up behind you with 30-minute old tyres. I think you're going to be doing pretty well to try and hold on to that position.
Yeah. But yeah, like Lucas Keys on fresh tyres, Slade, 35-minute old tyres roughly.
Yep.
So
yep.
It's gonna be interesting, and I'm interested to see when that 695 comes into the pits for a splash and dash, because I assume it's not going to get to the end of this race. It would have to do pretty much a 90-minute stint to get to the end of this race.
Yeah, that's definitely.
Yeah, so about an 80. So Glen's just said he's been up for about 43 minutes. So yeah, you'd have to do about 85 minutes, which I don't think is possible in that Honda.
No.
So
I don't pay much attention to them in the longer, but I can't say I've seen one do 85 minutes.
Meanwhile, Slady is 9.1 seconds behind Benefield, and he's only got about a 2.5 second buffer behind Lucas Keys, who is already gaining very quick on Slade, but only gaining by a few tenths on Benefield at the moment. This is going to go down to the wire.
Absolutely. And it's so good. So many different strategies, so many different plays, so many different pit stops, amount, when, who, where do you do it in relation to your track? When do you do it in relation to your time, your fuel loads? So dynamic, this whole race. It's fantastic. It's great.
Yeah, to think. We could have, a 3-hour race come down to the last 10 minutes. That is unbelievable. But we'll keep monitoring the gaps, and there you go. Lucas Keys isn't washed anymore, ladies and gentlemen. He's done his 43. Just a casual 43.9 if you don't mind. That's ridiculous.
Just confirming with everybody else, that's right, I am still the fastest.
Yep. Wow. Cool. So I reckon Lucas Keys is going to catch up to Benefield, but what's he going to do about overtaking him? Because for one thing, he's still got to get through on Kafil Slade. He still has to get. Shut up, Glen. Go.
He will definitely do what he can to put up a fight, but he's just. He's not even going to put up.
Was that a little bump there?
Yeah. A little push you out of the way.
A little Robbins racing. Get the bingo card out.
Well, he just made up half a second in like half a lap, so it was inevitable. That's for sure.
My question is just whether Keys can maintain this sort of lap speed for as long as he is, because we saw that even on his previous stint, he wasn't error free. He wasn't mistake free. There was moments where he would make a few minor errors going through the bus stop, and he's got 10.8 seconds. So if he's gained by about half a second a lap, then he'll be there in a matter of 20-ish laps, which would put him pretty much onto the last lap, he'd catch up.
And that's where
Absolute
the battle's going to be.
cinema.
And that's where it'll come down to, the last couple of laps. Is Benefield able to find that extra couple of tenths every single lap? Who's going to, like now, who's going to hit? Whoa, whoa, whoa.
That is one way of letting a faster car through.
Wow.
So that was, if I'm not mistaken, the 72 there. And he's going to let Slady go through as well. So Slady is out of this. It is now pretty much a straight fight between the 912 and the 139. Will it be Benefield and McDowell on top, or will it be our pole sitters, Keys and Convoy, who take the spoils here at round 1 at Watkins? We've got 35 minutes to decide it, and yeah, these blue flags could end up being critical to how this race pans out.
Absolutely. That's like, and that was case in point there. Like all it takes is you get a nervous blue flag just to not really kind of pull over where they need to, and then cause you to cause Keys or Benfield to have to kind of pull up drastically to miss getting hit.
Yeah, well, on that last lap,
hope not, but yeah.
On that last lap, that was Benefield's best lap time at 44.7, and I think that pretty much matched what Keys did. I think the gap stayed pretty stable at a 10.5, so good effort from Benefield to manage that gap. Of course, Keys did nearly get involved in an almighty shunt, and Benefield might have much the same, but fortunately the team car gets out of the way, and now here is the fight between Benefield and Cook, and is Benefield going to dive it up the inside? This is now, this is for position.
Yep.
So Benefield has to get through. He's got to get through.
And how much, because obviously Cook being in P1 is not going to go, yeah, sure, here's the door, I'll even open it for you. He's like, no, this is still all for position. How much is this going to hold Benefield up?
And
play right into Keys' hand.
The bigger question is, will Keys have to do the same thing?
Yes. Yeah. Is Cook now on mad fuel saver to go, you know what? I can probably get through to the end without having to stop. I'm not sure how much fuel he does have, but is that going to get him
that car is so loose. Position? He's run wide, and now Benefield, he's going to have a little bit of a better run, you would think, through the inside corner. He's going to get in the slipstream, and he's probably just going to have to dive it at the inside. He has to get through as soon as possible if he wants to continue breaking clear. But no, Cook manages to hold around the outside, and this is going to be frustrating for Daniel Benefield. But they're still side by side as we run up through turn 2, 3, and 4. I reckon, it's still going to be side by side. This is incredible stuff. Keys on that lap gained nearly 2 seconds on Benefield. That was horrible for Benefield to be behind Cook, but Cook well within his right to do what he did. And now the question is, will Keys have to do the same, or will Keys just be able to drive straight past the Honda?
Well, considering how quickly he did it past Slady, I don't think it'll take him too long to get past Cook, especially if Cook's on any form of fuel saving as well to get him through to the end. You know, I'm not quite sure exactly what Cook's times are, but clearly a lot slower than Benefield and Keys. So, you know, they could be doing what they can. Their battle might be the timing chart against Slady to make it to P3. So that could be where they're thinking as well.
Yeah, so many questions still in this race, but we've got 31 minutes to go. You would think, we'll get to about the 100 lap mark, a bit over that, and from there things are going to get pretty crazy, because it's about 7.6 seconds now separating Benefield and Keys.
It's getting close. And that gap to Cook's already up to just over 1 second as well there from Benefield. So he's definitely wanting to get the wriggle on. Down to 6.4 seconds to Keys now.
Okay, so getting some updates from Chris in chat. The tyres are just going through a phase at the moment. There is no fuel saving being undertaken by Brad Cook.
Yeah, okay. No worries. Thank you for the update, Chris. Appreciate it, mate.
And yep, there we go. Splash and dash about 36 litres. So, yep. Thank you for the confirmation there. Yeah, that's going to make things very interesting. Whether Keys has to try and overtake Cook, or whether Cook will have to do his splash and dash before then. Because if Cook has to do his splash and dash before then, I'm sure Benefield would be fuming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
As Ty's gone into the pits as well, that would be his final little splash and dash in the 111 car. So that be interesting to see where they end up coming out as well. 316 going past. And so that should be Lee coming back in to finish off his timing as well, according to Glen from what we've got on the timing charts. So that'll be a full swap over. So that's going to be tough. That's a full 30 seconds for them to do the swap.
So, oh my lord, Lucas Keys has just set the fastest lap of the race while stuck in traffic.
Yeah, why not?
And the next car he has ahead of him is Brad Cook.
At 5 seconds up the road, that will be very interesting to see how far he can hold him off. Hopefully, for Brad's sake, he can hold him off as long as he can. But I don't think that'll happen. Not with Keys doing a 38.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, 43.8 is...
43. What did I say? 38. I don't know.
Oh, you probably got it from the 3.8 because it was a 43.8 that he set.
Yes, that's
but that's still unbelievable. Yeah. It's hard to really put your money on anyone apart from Lucas Keys, but you never know. Benefield could put on a defensive masterclass, but either way, he's going to have to defend from that rapid 139 Nissan. It's just astounding what Lucas Keys is doing. Like, his fastest lap is pretty much a second faster than anyone else's fastest lap.
Yeah, it is. It's just crazy.
Benefield's doing the best he can. He's less than a tenth off of his best times, but the problem is Lucas Keys keeps going faster.
Yep, just a masterclass at work, mate.
I mean, what? Keys is already on the back of Cook, pretty much. Like, this is just unbelievable. I really just can't believe it.
To be that far head and shoulders above pace is just outstanding. Outstanding to watch.
Yeah. This is watching a master at work here, and I think we all just have to take a moment to really appreciate what is being done, because I'm just gobsmacked a little bit here, but he now he's in a bit of a tricky spot because he's going through the middle sector where you can't really make overtakes, so he's going to have to wait until at least turn one, you would expect. He's not going to have as much time behind Cook as what Benefield did, so overall, by far a net gain as Lucas Marshall picks up a 10-second penalty for dangerous driving on lap 84. That car is sitting in P12, so that will drop them down potentially behind Cricky there in P13 and perhaps behind Monks in P14. But yeah, Lucas Keys, Cook got a great run out of turn 11, so Keys is going to have to wait just that little bit longer to try and get through on Cook. But you would say, oh dear.
Where did that come from?
Cook got absolutely mugged.
I didn't even think there was a move on there.
That was an
Didn't even look
absolute
like a move.
That was an absolute mugging. But to be fair, if I was in Cook's shoes, I wouldn't have expected that either. That came from absolutely nowhere.
Nowhere.
I thought for all money that Lucas Keys was going to smash into the back of Cook, but great awareness from Cook and, well, incredible courage from Lucas Keys. But yeah, I don't know whether either of them really planned for that.
No, that was, wow. Be interesting if we could get a replay of that, Glen, see how that all took place. That was crazy.
But now that means that the next car for position is Benefield, and it's 4.5 seconds.
Yep, and there's only this one between them too.
At this stage, yes, there'll be a few more in short order, but I know there's 2 cars between them.
I'm trying to see it on the track map. Yeah.
Yeah, there's the 191 that's a little further ahead of this car, and yeah, this car lets Lucas Keys go through, so... Oh my lord. Yeah, okay, yeah, apparently even Lucas didn't expect that move. I think he's just on that sort of level at the moment where he's braking is just so far ahead of others that moves that he does sometimes aren't even moves he's expecting to make. But to be fair, I think a lot. Again, gotta give some credit there to Cook for being aware of that, keeping an eye on the mirrors, and seeing that Keys was coming up very, very fast behind, and moving aside to make sure that there was no contact between them.
Yep, that's it. You don't want to wreck your race with 25 minutes left, so gap now down to 4.4 seconds. Here we go.
This is going to be interesting to watch. So he comes from a mile back, and yeah, he just brakes as normal. It's like, oh shit, I'm gonna, and he gets through. Yep. That looks like it was going to be a painful end to what was a masterful drive, but somehow it ended in the craziest move of the race.
Yep, I would definitely put that one up there as one of the crazy, for sure.
So
crazy.
4 seconds. That is what Lucas Keys has to close now, and you would put him odds-on favourites to do that. It's just how much time will he have to try and get through on that 912, which has been leading for so long.
Has that Porsche of the 912 has really been quite strong since the outset. You know, they got a great start, kept it clean, managed to make up a couple of positions straight off the start, and kind of never looked back.
Yeah. Well, I reckon we're going to see Keys on the back of Benefield with about 13 minutes to go, if even that. So he's going to have plenty of opportunities to try and get through on Benefield, but yeah, we're not too sure what the defensive prowess is of Benefield against the Nissan at this stage, but we've seen plenty of moments where Keys is just an absolute overtaking machine. As in the background, it looked like there was a bit of a fight going on between the 191 and the 175. And you can see, 191, that is Johnson trying to hold off Marshall there for P11. Of course, Marshall with that 10-second penalty, so he'll want to get through as soon as possible to try and avoid dropping behind Crick, dropping behind Monks in the final race results. But Kyle Johnson in the United Colours of Kovacs doing a relatively good job so far of holding off the fast-charging Nissan. To be fair, there's about 1 million fast-charging Nissans in this race.
Yeah, that's default, all of the above. That's for sure.
So, let's keep an eye on what Marshall can do. Coming down this straight, he'll get a nice slipstream behind the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin's no slouch, but we know how good that Nissan is on acceleration, and going up the hill gets closer and closer and closer, and is now tucked up in behind, but it won't be enough on this lap, so you'll have to wait a little bit longer. But Johnson does compromise his line a little bit, gets on the grass, and that's going to slow him out of the corner, but he keeps it together just enough. I can't believe this race has gone on with so much action for as long as it has, and we're still going to get action right up to the end of this race. This is the power, this is the excitement that we get in the Duo Cup.
That's it. There's so many battles, so many things going on everywhere, and then it's been the whole race. Like, it's just the amount of times where it's, you know, it's 2, 3, 4 cars all in a row, all vying for position. And it just has never, it's just been never ending.
Getting a little bit wide there was Lucas Marshall onto the grass, and he managed to just save it. Wow. Okay. Yeah, and I think something else to point out, there haven't been many penalties in this race either. Well, I think we've seen about 5 penalties in this race.
Yeah, it's certainly been quite clean.
Hats off. Like, that's incredible for such a long race with so many drivers out there, a range of different drivers. And, yeah, it still produced a lot of great action, and I'm so excited to see what the Duo Cup has on offer going forward.
Yeah, it really is such one of their premier racing series. It has turned into.
Always a spectacle. Always a spectacle.
And looking back up, Lucas Keys now at 2.5 seconds.
They are
and gaining.
line astern on the track. They have no cars between them at the moment. It's happening. It really is happening. Is Lucas Marshall now trying to go around the outside of Kyle Johnson? Oh, that's very tight between them, but nice, fair, clean racing. There's a little bit of contact. Kyle Johnson just need to leave a little bit more room for Lucas Marshall on the outside there, but Lucas Marshall does end up going through.
Yep, that's another one of those ones where you make the overtake from the outside. Marshall just does well. Johnson not quite hitting the line there properly, and here we go.
There's Cook in. So Cook has 30.5 seconds over Kafil Slade. What? How's he done that?
Well, it won't be for long because
yeah, he'll be stationary for what? 8 seconds?
Probably 8-10 seconds maybe.
So I reckon he'll be about 8 seconds behind. So 2 seconds between Benefield and Keys. Benefield's just put a car between them, but not for long, because it's now close enough that the blue flag traffic that they're going through will be much the same. And you look at the clean air that Benefield has now, there's not a car for miles.
Yeah, it's going to be a long way before they catch up to that 911. Are they going to do it with 16 minutes? Yeah, probably.
So Cook is out. and yeah, he's going to be a fair way back, so he's going to gain a lot of time on fairly old tyres. So
yeah, Slade's just coming through the bus stop, so in front of 4 lapped cars. So yeah,
lap gap is 9.8 seconds. So
yeah. So
yeah, sort of what I was expecting.
Great racing there from Stady and Babby, starting the race P2. Leading the first couple of laps. So looking like a pretty solid chance of, as long as nothing silly happens to him, solid chance of being on the podium there.
Yeah. 1.4 seconds. It's happening. So this is the lap that Keys is going to close in onto the back of the Porsche, the 912 Porsche of Benefield. And we're going to have about 8 laps of hopefully some really, really tight, close racing.
We can hope so, but I would dare say the blinkers that are on Lucas Keys, I'd love to say it'll last a while. It'd be great for the viewers. Maybe Lucas might just be able to play with him. Just play around with him there for a bit until the last couple of laps, and then boost it just to keep the audience interested a bit longer. But in saying that, it's still on the end of your seat. Like at the pace of which Lucas Keys has been driving, it's just been absolutely phenomenal. And,
I think the problem for Benefield here will be the straight line speed.
Yeah. Yep, that's it exactly. And being in front, not being able to have the tow, and as you said there before, it's a long way before there's any other cars. It's a lot of clean air, so there's no chance for him to get any drag. But Benefield has done such a great job, super consistent all races. Keys goes a little bit wide. He's taking
Track limits have to be a factor here. Track limits have got to be a factor here.
They've got to come into it shortly.
But Benefield pretty much has to drive to perfection if he wants any chance of holding on to this win. And even then, this is going to be the worrisome spot. Because on that last lap, Keys was 0.6 of a second faster, and we'll see how much this Nissan gains in a straight line, and it's not looking pretty for that Porsche at all. Look at that, 0.6 in the straight alone. That is, that is dark. That is damning. That is.
Yeah.
So, you would say it's only a matter of time, but we can hold out hope that this goes down to the wire, as there's a yellow flag. The 191 has gone around. Perhaps there's been a little bit of contact there with the 175. They were nice and tight before, but the 191 has continued on, and has fallen behind Cricky and Monks in this race. So you would say that Keys will just hold out, wait for that straight, and he'll know that he should be able to just fly past with the straight line speed.
Yeah.
Benefield can do everything, but I don't think it will be quite enough once we get through turn 1, 2, 3, 4 and onto that back straight, because that Nissan's just an absolute beast. And not a great exit there for Benefield, so we'll see. I don't think it's gonna be the Porsche's day. And there you go, the Nissan tucks out of the slipstream alongside. Benefield's gonna try and hold that inside line, but I think Keys will be able to swoop around the outside. But no, Benefield is gonna try and hold in there. He does do enough at the moment. Perhaps there is still some hope in this race for that Porsche, but it's going to be tough.
Yep, and that's how he's got to drive. That's how he's got to play this last. It's only 11 minutes in the race. Get out of the way.
Yeah, and that blue flag has a lot of damage as well.
Oh,
so
doesn't it?
Yeah, that was in the end. That was a pretty good job of getting out of the way, given the circumstances that number 2 car is having to drive in. Here's Keys. He had a little bit of a look to the inside, just trying to spook Benefield a little bit here. So the 72 has gone around the final corner.
Hopefully he clears out in the way.
He's clearing out now.
Starting to go again. Ooh.
So now, round 2, and Keys has gone wide again. Yeah, those track limits are going to be an interesting one to watch. But what is the gap like? It's through turn 1. Oh, it's tight. It's very tight, and Keys runs very wide again. Does he get a slipstream this time? He's a little further back, so I reckon he might get a slipstream this time. Now, what is going to happen here? He's got a massive slipstream, and he's going to go all the way, but has he done it a little too late? Can Benefield hold that inside line? It's going to be tight through here. There's contact!
Oh, no.
Hold the brakes, hold the brakes, hold the brakes. Okay, now they just have to get through. They've got good amount of gap back to Slade, so they continue onwards.
Oh, wow. And case in point, we say it over and over again, you can't go too wide through the bus stop. You just can't. Even the best of the best, these two. Best of the best in this race so far, still can't do it.
So... No, the stewards have jinxed it. We have jinxed it. And now we don't know what's going to happen in this race, because there is absolutely going to be an investigation for that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Contact between the 2 leaders like that is always going to be investigated, but we have no idea what's going to happen there, because it was nip and tuck between them.
Yeah, who has to give way to who and at what point on what corner? It's man.
Well, 8 minutes and 45 seconds to go in this race.
And it is all on. Gloves are off. And
I reckon we've got about
utmost.
4 laps to go. 4 laps to go here.
Wow. Yeah.
All right, co-driver for the Porsche here. They're playing on. Okay, play on. It is all right. They're gonna keep fighting it out, regardless of what happens here. So, what spice for the end of this race, huh?
Oh, that's it. 2 hours, 50 minutes. We're talking strategies. You're talking the fact that these two guys at the back end of the race came in within, a couple of laps or a lap of each other at around about that 45, 46 minute mark. So tyres are the same. Fuel loads are the same throughout the whole race, coming back from where Lucas Keys, having JC having to do a little splash and dash there as well. They've had the extra stop to be able to come to this point here. 7 minutes to go, 0.3 of a second between them. They've already touched. They've already spun each other around. This is absolute game on to the edge of the track, as we just seen there as well from Benefield.
My lord, he's really, really pushing now, and Keys is basically pushing him through the corners. Like, there's
the...
Benefield is really pushing here. Now, he has to defend the inside going into turn 1. We know how good that Nissan is into turn 1, and I think this is going to be really tight. It's a little bit of contact, a little bit of side-by-side contact, and Benefield, somehow he holds on, and everything is happening here, but I think Keys is a little too close on this occasion. He's going to tuck out a slipstream out of turn 4, and now it's going to be side draft really for Lucas Keys, and it's going to be essentially the same situation we were in before, and now still side by side, and they give each other a little room on this occasion, and Benefield still holds on.
Oh, wow.
And Bowles...
There's a bit of bump draft in there too, coming out of the corner.
Bowles, yes, that was a tap, and now Keys sends it to the inside, and there's... that's tied again, but I think Keys has done it. He's done it.
Got him. Wow.
Unbelievable.
What a great fight there from Benefield, though.
Unbelievable.
What a great fight.
Hats off to both of them. It wasn't the cleanest battle, but my lord, was it entertaining.
Yeah.
They gave each other as much room as they possibly could through the bus stop, and Benefield did all he could, but Lucas Keys was inevitable, and he is through. And with 5 minutes and 25 seconds to go, the 3's pit stop strategy might have just paid off here.
Yeah. He's probably on his last warning for track limits too, so he needs to be very cautious and very careful with what he does with that 1 minute.
Yeah,
So,
it's still far from over. It is still far from over, but
and that's not including. Well, I don't know if did the Porsche guys did either of them call the spin?
Well, as far as I'm aware, from what we were told by Benfield's teammate and co-driver,
nothing from them.
They played it on. They were happy to play it on. So, as far as I'm aware, there has been no reporting of that incident. So they have. Yeah. So both teams have said, right. That's just what happens when we're fighting for the same bit of track. We haven't lost anything from it. Let's just keep moving forward.
Yep. Play on. Reset. Play on.
And honestly, I'm all for it. Because sometimes that is just what happens when you have two drivers fighting for P1 with everything that they have. And we saw that the next time they went side by side through there, they gave each other a lot more room. So,
just catching Chris in chat here as well, and they're both gone wide. Surely that's track limits. Surely. There we.
So it's Benefield that's picked up the 10-second penalty for Corsair collision on lap 96. So there you go. So Benefield's defense would have been in vain. So it has been deemed by the stewards that Benefield was the car behind going into the corner, and therefore Keys was the one that had the authority over the corner. And so yeah, okay.
And just got Chris is in chat there saying that as we're looking, that Cook has caught right up onto the back of Slady there as well. So, Slady's doing well with super old tyres, but here we are, 2.5 minutes left. The battles are not over for the minor placings on the podium. It's less than there you go, 0.2 of a second here now. So this will be the ultimate battle for the for the podium here. Slade's going super wide.
Look, that's not quite the track limits.
Yeah, well, he probably would have rolled out of the throttle enough to not have it as a gain. So hopefully for his sake that's what did happen. But can Cook make something happen here too? Just over 2 minutes left. We've got Lucas Keys coming through corner 9, turn 9, coming up to 10 and 11. I think there will be one more lap.
Yep, one more lap. That should be all they have time for.
So he's coming up onto the straight. So yes, at 1 minute 43, So this will be coming the last lap here now. So for Lucas Keys, so
And he's just hit the 100.
And we've hit the 100 laps too. Brilliant. How good's that? Oh!
So here is Slade trying to hold on to P3 with everything that Lambo has. Both these drivers should be on fairly old tyres at this point.
Yeah.
But you can see that Cook has the pace advantage over the Lamborghini there of Kafil Slade. And question from Kamaris, how far away is P3 from P2? Half the track.
Yep,
so
pretty much right on half the track.
So that 10-second penalty for Benefield is more a token than a inhibitor.
Oh!
As everyone's now hitting the wall at the final corner.
Everyone's taking it out.
You hit the wall, you hit the wall, everyone hits the wall.
Yeah, that's a bit of my paint. You better throw a bit of paint on too, hey?
Yes.
Why not?
So we'll keep an eye on this, but Lucas Keys is now coming through the final sector. We'll keep an eye on this right up to the bus stop. As Benefield's been caught up in something here. He's dropped back a long way. As so we'll jump over to Lucas Keys, who's coming up around turn 10 now. What a drive this has been from the 139. It started out with Jamie Comboy, who started this race somewhat unexpectedly, put on a very strong defensive effort, and then Lucas Keys, what a drive. The overtaking prowess from the master. The 139 Pain and Misery team win round 1 of the Duo Cup here at Watkins Glen. Benefield picks up P2 despite the 10-second penalty, and Kafil Slade, who is sitting in P3, the number 28 car, 8 laps down by KA with Slade and Babby. Cook's going to send it to the inside. He doesn't need to, because Slady is a 5-second penalty, but somehow Brad Cook has done it on track, and that 695 entry, that had to do 3 stops as well, is going to finish on the podium. That is an unbelievable effort from Smokestack Racing between Taylor and Cook. So, yeah, there you go. It is 139, Pain and Misery, Keys and Comboy at P1, 912 Porsche Guys 2 with Benefield McDowell, and Smokestack Racing with Cook and Taylor as well. Unbelievable effort. 28 with Slade and Babby finish in P4, then the 2 Samuels in P5, followed by Vintner and King. They're winning out the silver class with Purcell and Holmes in P7. Babby will be P8 for Bin Chicken Racing alongside his co-driver Rochford, and then it'll be McLaughlin and Turkley rounding out the drivers on the lead lap there in P9 with Marshall a lap down, but he'll drop behind Lee, Crick and Monk, so it will be Lee who will finish in top 10 at 111 with Stephen Ty, Cricky in P11 with Niporus alongside him. So wow. Also getting confirmation they did 4 stops, the team that finished P3.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
That's a huge effort from Cook and Taylor in that Honda. Great effort doing 4 stops for that one.
Yep, so quickly going over the results once again. So it was Keys and Comboy, the 139, winning out with an unbelievable race. Benefield McDowell led for most of the way, but unfortunately for them, it's P2 at the end. Still a great effort from them. And then Cook and Taylor at the 4 stop, as you said, for the 695. Huge result in P3. We'll go over to the silver class now, and it will be Vintner and King winning it out from Babby and Rochford, followed by Crick and Niporus. Then in the Pro-Am class, it was Bank and Wren who won out from the 2 Millers, and then Hopkinson and Brickley rounding out your podium there for the Pro-Am class. Well, what words do you have to describe what we just witnessed there?
That was That was literally on the edge of your seat. That 3 hours just went so quick. There was action up and down the race the whole way through. We always kind of knew that it was Lucas Keys' race to lose with just the pace that he had. You know, getting halfway through, not quite sure if he was going to make it to the end there. There was, so many of the guys that just dug deep right near the end there and really did come out and shine in the end. That was a great race. Just really good to see how it show off how good this duo series really is, Lexi.
Oh, absolutely. It was astounding. Also, anyone that was asking where rain before, the rain machine suddenly works in 30 minutes, so there you go. But yeah, we didn't need the rain because this is going to be a big call here, but I think that was the best race I've ever commentated. Just in terms of its action, in terms of its quality, in terms of how clean most of the racing was, and all the drama that we saw. For a 3-hour race, that was incredible, and hats off to all the drivers in this round of the Simrig Giro series, because it fit the billing for the opening round, and I personally cannot wait to see what comes next in the Giro series. But that will have to do us for tonight. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, and we hope to see you back very, very soon. But from myself and Brad, it's good night for now.
Good night.